are, Granny.
Great galloping gizzards.
Well, how do you like it? Spent all morning just getting ready for Dash.
But you wasted your time. He's got a date with Elvis.
I don't want a date with him. I want to get a job acting in his new TV series.
I'm sure he already has a leading lady.
I want to show him I can play romantic leading man parts. I want him to stop thinking of me as just an intellectual.
One look at you in that get-up and he'll want to stop thinking of you, period.
Sorry, miss. Oh, it's me, Dash, Jethro. Well, you sure got a pile-driving fist. Are you hurt? Nah.
Of course he ain't. You can crack boulders with that head of his.
Feels like concrete.
Thank you. Dash, take a look at me and tell me what comes to your mind.
Halloween?
Oh, I want a part of the new TV show you're doing.
Golly, Jethro, I don't think...
Oh, come on now. Don't you storm me like Mr. Chapman, the head of the movie studio, has been doing. I've been going down there every day for acting audition. And all I keep hearing is, Mr. Chapman's out of town. Mr. Chapman's out of the country.
He may be.
No, he ain't. It's Mr. Chapman I keep hearing it from.
I thought you only acted in the movies, Dash.
I couldn't turn this one down, Granny. It's the first series I've been offered with real quality and sophistication.
What's it called?
Bachelor Sheriff knows best.
Howdy, Dash. Miss Jane bought her that bathing suit. It's the first time I've ever seen it. Ah! Cover your eyes, hide your eyes. Anyway, don't put on the rest of that bathing suit.
This is all it is to it, Granny.
Then I'm going to call Miss Jane and tell her she's been slickered. There's not enough suit there to cover a fella.
Yeah, it's great.
Jethro, can't put my finger on it, but there's something different about you today. Have you lost weight?
You dumb old girl. This is my new leading man image. Oh, come on, Dash. How about a part in your series?
It's all cast, Jethro.
Oh, there must be something I can do for you.
Yes. Take off that silly wig.
Oh, all right. It ain't true the blondes have more fun anyhow.
Come on, everybody, let's go swimming.
Hey, wait, I can't go. It'll ruin my makeup. Keep your head out of the water. Hey, that won't help. I got it all over me.
Why?
Well, I figured if you didn't need a cowboy, I could play Indy.
Jethro, I'm sorry, but there just isn't a part for you in my series.
Why not?
Well, I'll square with you, Jethro. It's a Western. You can't rope, you can't ride, you can't fast draw, and you can't act.
See? You can't give me one good reason.
Granny, believe me, there is nothing indecent about that bathing suit. Why, I bought one just like it for myself. No, I am not kidding. Yes, I'll tell Mr. Drysdale you called. He's in a meeting with Mr. Chapman, the head of your movie studio. I don't know what they're talking about, but it must be money. When Mr. Chapman came in, he was crying.
Bachelor Sheriff knows best couldn't have missed.
Oh, stop crying, Chapman. You've only lost a television series. It's not the end of the world.
But Mr. Clampett's studio is out millions in potential profits.
Well, it is the end of the world.
Television is the real loser. Bachelor Sheriff is going to be something new. Something other than a rehash of last season's hit show.
Really?
It's a rehash of every hit show since 1948.
So, that's why you named the hero Howdy Doody. That's right.
Dash plays a widower lawyer, dying of an incurable disease, who takes his little daughter and her collie dog on a wagon train to Tombstone, where he becomes marshal and tracks down a one-armed man who gave him amnesia.
Sounds terrible.
I know, it's a sure winner.
What happened?
The little think child star that's playing the daughter, Debbie Dimples, came in with impossible demands.
Then write her out of the script.
I can't. That's one of the success elements I stole. The hero must be a widower with a sweet little dependent.
Well, then let it be a monkey instead of a little girl. Jungle series are very big this season.
Yes, a monkey. You know, I was so busy stealing from the old shows, I forgot to steal from the new ones. Hold it. Rip Rock will never go for a monkey as his co-star.
Don't tell him. Put the ape in the right clothes, and he may never know the difference.
Where'd we going to find one? All the big-name monkeys already have their own series.
I know one we can get right up at Jed Clampett's house.
Not Jethro.
No. I'm talking about talent. Ellie Mae's chimpanzee, cousin, what's her name?
Milburn, this is the co-starring role. We can't use an unknown.
He won't be once the series is on the air.
Well, I guess Otto von Schlepper, the director, could give her an audition.
Just wait till you see her. She's Judy, Tita, King Kong, all rolled into one. And can she act?
Well, I hope so. I can't risk the series on just another pretty face.
Gil, what are you doing out here in that skimpy bathing suit?
Well, we was playing ball. Dash had to run back to the studio.
Car coming, we got company.
Get inside before they see your nakedness.
Why, it's some stranger and Mr. Chapman from a studio.
Well, it's about time. Jethro's been at him all week to get him an acting audition.
Well, they come all the way up here to see him. I hope the boy's ready.
Mr. Clampett. Granny. How are you?
Hi, Mr. Chapman.
Oh, I'd like you to meet a new director I just brought from Europe, Mr. von Schlepper.
Howdy, Mr. Schlepper.
It is Von Schlepper.
All right, Von, you can call me Jed. This here is Granny.
Howdy. I can give you something to cure that tick. Might be able to grow hair for you, too.
Mr. Clampett, we have a wonderful part available in the new Dash Rip Rock television series.
Well, you come to the right spot. We got a real performer in this family.
So we hear.
Yeah. Where is the, how you say,
In the house. You wait right here.
Yeah.
Jethro! Jethro, get down here. Mr. Chapman and the movie director's here. Want to audition you?
God, Dash must have called him.
Jethro was telling me about Dash's new TV series. Your coming by is going to make the boy powerful happy.
Well, if this audition works out, we're all going to be powerful happy.
Here, Jethro. Jethro, this is Mr. Schlepper. I mean, Von. And you know Mr. Chapman.
Howdy.
I'd like Ellie Mae to meet you. I'll go see can I find her. It's your big chance, boy. Do your stuff.
Don't worry, Uncle Jed. Get a look at this Valentino stayer.
Well, good luck, boy.
What is wrong with that Jethro? He looks like he ate a bad knockwurst.
Never mind. Here comes the real monkey.
Oh, she's a knockout.
Oh, sure. She's got a good figure, but can she act?
I will pull it.
Good, good, good.
She cannot be any worse than Dash Rip Rock. Let me have anger. Now, show me sorrow.
A shiner. She's as good as Debbie Dimples.
She's 10 times better than Dash Rip Rock.
Oh, God, who'd they come up here to audition? That blame monkey or me?
Show me passion. Magnificent.
A star is born. Does this mean a part in Dash Rip Rock's television series?
The co-starring role.
Hey, your uncle will have the contracts ready this afternoon.
Yeah!
What's wrong with that nut?
Oh, a bad knockwurst, for sure. I know heartburn when I see it.
Jed! Ellie! Uncle Jed! Ellie!
You hadn't ought to left Mr. Chapman and Mr. Schlepper out there alone.
I didn't. They left.
Doggone, I wanted Ellie to meet Mr. Schlepper. Granny just had to find something for her to wear over her new bathing suit.
Yeah, and then she wanted it looking stylish, so she had to shorten.
You don't sound like a couple of hillbilly weed benders. Standing there talking about ladies' fashions when you could swing a tater fork and hit a real live TV star.
Is Dash back?
I'm talking about me.
You?
You mean you got an acting part in his television series?
Not a acting part. I am the co-star.
I don't believe it. What part are you playing on Bachelor Sheriff Knows Biz?
They ain't told me yet. But even a blubberhead like you can figure out it's either got to be the bachelor or the sheriff. Don't let her hit me, Uncle Jed. My face is my fortune.
Yeah, stop it, Ellie. He's got an uphill climb in loose rock as it is.
What do you mean? Appearing with Dash Riprock is going to make me famous overnight.
I'd better call William S. Hart and warn him.
I don't believe even he was an overnight star.
This here ain't the movies. We's talking about national television. For 3, maybe 400 people watching. I got to go pick me out a cow pony.
You better let me pick it out. The only thing you know about a horse is how to sound like one when you lie.
Ellie Mae, if I wasn't afraid of hurting my trigger finger, I'd be...
Boy, why don't you let Ellie pick you out a pony? She knows more about horses than you do.
Well, all right, but it's got to be a white bronc. One that's just as smart as me.
Well, that's gonna be mighty hard to find. About the only horses that dumb is on a merry-go-round.
Hello, Miss Hathaway.
Why, Dash! Hello, you should have told me you were coming.
Well, I have just come to the studio. Excuse my wardrobe.
Oh, well, you can go right in. Mr. Chapman and Mr. Drysdale, I'll see you when you come out.
Well.
Oh, no hurry, of course.
Bessie the Chimp is going to be the hit of the new season. We ought to call the show Frontier Monkey.
I don't care if they call it Frontier Money. It's going to make us all a potful.
Mr. Drysdale, Mr. Chapman, I've just come from the studio to ask a favor.
Well, name it, as long as it costs under $9.95.
No, it isn't money. It's about Jethro. I want to get him a job in the new series. Anything at all. He's so eager.
Chuggy Jethro? Are you kidding?
We'll need someone to handle the monkey. Yeah. Dash, we've just come up with a job for Jethro. He's going to work with your co-star.
Oh, great. I hope she doesn't mind. Jethro acts a little goofy.
Oh, no, she won't mind. Your co-star's a fun-loving little monkey herself.
A real swinger.
Well, she ought to be. I'll bet you're paying her a lot of bananas for this job.
Oh, Dad. Take a look at my hair.
Yeah, I see it. I didn't know it was that windy out.
This is a hairpiece. I borrowed it from one of the girls in the secretarial pool.
Oh, well, I like your own hair better. This is all drab and stringy around the edges.
That part is my own hair. Dash, isn't there a scene from Bachelor Sheriff I could help you rehearse?
Hey, there is one I'm having trouble with. The saloon fight.
I meant a love scene.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Hathaway. This is a true Western. The only thing in it I kiss is my horse. Hello, Mr. Clampett.
Another cowboy. Oh, this place ain't starting to look like home on the range.
What are the cowboys here?
Me, Dash.
Well, I don't know. He may have gone a little overboard.
I'll be right down. Yippee! Now I know why cowboys ride horses. You sure can't walk in these boots.
You all right?
I don't know. There's a sharp tingling sensation shooting through me.
Well, I'll fetch Granny.
Here's the trouble. I was sitting on one of my spurs. Here you are. Well, all set to go to work on Bachelor Sheriff.
You already know about the job?
Well, yeah. I'm the co-star.
No, Jethro. Mr. Chapman meant you're going to be working with the co-star.
Well, yeah, you. I'm your co-star. You're my co-star.
Jethro, there's something I got to do.
Hey, can't it wait, Dash? I got to practice my roping. Only learned how 20 minutes ago.
You're wasting your time.
No, I ain't. I'm awful good, but I ain't perfect.
That's the wrong end.
Yeah, thanks. Watch. I'm gonna lasso that vase over yonder. First, you twirl on over your head like this. Then you throw it all the way back. And then you give it a big yank. Doggone it, Granny, come back here. Uncle Jed, Granny run off with my lasso.
Hey, Jethro, I found you the perfect horse.
Great, I got my saddle out back. Is it a stallion? Is it white? Is it fast?
If it can move at all, you better get on it and ride for your life.
How come?
'Cause otherwise, when Granny climbs out of that rose garden across the street, you're going to get one humdinger of a saddle sore.
sure give Jethro a blistering for tossing her in the rose bushes, didn't she?
Could have been worse.
Yeah, I could have got a hold of him before she did and really beat him up.
Ellie Mae, you can't blame Jethro for not liking the horse you brought home. You gotta admit it ain't exactly what Hoot Gibson would ride.
But then Jethro ain't exactly Hoot Gibson either.
Oh, you noticed that too, huh?
Besides, I couldn't get old Boulder Belly a little white bronc. What them saddling on it, why, it'd be wore out in 10 minutes.
Well, with this horse you got, what's on it ain't the worry. I'm just hoping what's under it holds up. Hey, that is one gallywumping heap of horse flesh.
Why, he weighs almost a ton. He's what you call a Clydesdale. I named him Clyde.
You should have named him Oversized. That horse must stand 18 hands high.
Jethro's gonna sure that tall in the saddle.
I don't know. After the high tan and he just got, it'll be a spell before he does any saddle sitting at all.
Gone. I bet if old Wild Bill Hickok pulled his granny into the rose bushes, he wouldn't have got hickory switched.
If you'd have had your granny, it would have.
Well, enough of this cooling off. I gotta get going.
You've been sitting in water, Jethro. The seat of your pants is all wet.
Oh, they'll dry out in no time. I'm still throwing out a lot of heat. Well, come on, Dash.
You gonna wear that cowboy outfit to the studio?
Well, yeah. I'm gonna ride down there and sign my contract.
You're gonna ride down on that hairy elephant Ellie got for you?
Me and Clyde? Why, sure. Ain't nobody gonna be looking at that freak when they got something like me to stare at.
I see what you mean.
I haven't showed you my fast draw yet.
Well, go ahead, show me.
You show me yours first.
All right, count 3.
3 what?
You know, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Dash, you better play the part of the bachelor. If we'd been having a shootout just then, you'd have more holes in you than the back road to Bug Tussle.
Watch this.
Both guns.
1, 2, 3.
Fast, huh? Bet you didn't even see him come out of the holsters.
Jethro, you should have put blanks in those guns.
No, I tried shooting bottles with them things, but I couldn't break a 1.
Oh, never mind.
Hey, I can do better than that.
I think you better get up on your horse. We'll forget about the fancy gunplay.
Why, Dash? That was just an accident.
I know, but another one like that and you'll be the first cowboy in history wearing open-toed boots.
Whoa there. Whoa. Easy there, fella. Easy. Take it easy. Steady, big fella, steady.
If that horse is any steadier, he'd be dead.
Stand back there. I gotta get down to the movie studio and have some publicity pictures took. Hey, how's my saddle look?
Beautiful. Adios, amigo.
Silicon Cardi. All right, big fella. Up, boy. Hi-ho, Clyde! I gotta change that name. Hi-ho, Clyde! Away! Pound them hoofs. Faster, boy, faster. Fly like the wind. Could I talk you into a slow walk?
No, you're just wasting your time. That horse ain't going nowhere.
I know that. Do something. I got to ride my mount down to Mammoth Studios and sign my co-star contract.
Well, I can't do nothing. Clyde's a draft horse. He won't move unless he's pulling a wagon.
A wagon?
Yeah, that one yonder.
Legit? I can't ride to the movie studio pulling that thing.
Well, it's either that or drive the truck.
There's a choice for you.
I'm a cowboy. I can't drive a truck down to the movie studio, and I sure can't ride a horse pulling that wagon.
Well, there's a third way. You can have the horse pull the truck.
I know a fourth way. You could stay at home.
Doggone! It's the blasted old wagon up. I just hope Hopalong Cassidy don't see me.
Well, I'll hook it up, but you'll have to ask Cousin Bessie before you go anywhere.
What do you mean?
Well, Clyde won't pull his wagon unless Cousin Bessie's riding in it. They've got to be hair-turned fond of each other.
There's one courtship I don't hold much hope for.
Who knows? Around this place, anything can happen.
Now, hold on. Do you think that I'm going to ride down to the movie studio through the middle of Beverly Hills, riding this plow horse, pulling that wagon, with that monkey in it? What kind of a jerk do you think I am? Doggone it, Bessie, quit making so much noise. I don't want to attract no attention.
that monkey, Larry?
How should I know? She's supposed to be here.
Hasn't even signed a contract, and already she's showing up late. Larry, did you ever use a circus in a picture on this lot?
Yeah, a few months ago.
You better call them. I think they forgot their freak show.
There's our star.
What an eyeful. What a knockout.
Thanks, Vance. Hey, bananas! Hey, how'd you know I'd be starved? Hey!
Oh, it's you again. How's your heartburn?
Jethro? Say, what are you doing with that monkey?
Carrying her to her dressing room. Nothing's too good for the co-star. Bachelor Sheriff knows best.
She's a co-star? Bessie?
That rare combination of beauty and talent.
What about me? What about this outfit I bought for me?
Well, if I were you, I'd hang on to it. You never know when they might need a replacement for Captain Kangaroo.
I ain't no kangaroo. I'm a star. Anybody can tell I belong right here in show business just by looking at me. Hey, say, mister, I bet you know why I'm here.
Yeah, and you're late.
God!
Well, Mr. Chapman, Mr. Slipper, come in. Jethro's been expecting you.
Oh, I hope he wasn't too upset about the misunderstanding over Cousin Bessie. He drove his wagon out of the studio at full gallop.
The trash man didn't even have time to empty his second barrel.
Jethro's all through wanting to be a co-star in Dash's series. All he cares about now is Bessie making good.
Oh, what a sweet boy he is.
Hey, Jewel.
Well, where is Bessie? We have the contracts right here.
Well, just a minute. I'll fetch your agent.
Her agent?
That's right, sweetie. I'm Bessie's 10%er. So whifty bo deep.
Whifty's a pretty good nickname for you. You sure come down them stairs fast.
Uncle Jeff, will you fetch Bessie?
Sure, boy.
All right. Listen, you two. My client, Cousin Bessie, has got to have co-star billing, script approval, and an awful good hairdresser. Plus, she gets 10,000 bananas a week, which I get 10%, or 1,000 of them to eat for myself.
Ridiculous. We'll just get another monkey.
Oh, not like Bessie, you won't. Wait till you see what I've done for her. She is going to be a real big star.
No. All that sweet, naive, little girl quality, it's gone.
Now, she's just another Hollywood glamour puss.
Hey, wait, we can make a deal. How about 1,000 bananas a week? Oh, what about 500? Hey, I'll give you a couple of bunches.
Jethro? What is all this?
Just a little bedtime snack.
Whole turkey, ham, milk, bread, fruit. Just a little something light, huh?
Yeah. Granny says it ain't no good to eat too much for baby.
You seen Granny? She ain't come up yet.
Yeah, she's waiting for Ellie to get home from her date with Dash Riprock.
I bet she's fixing to spy on him again. Where is she?
Right over yonder.
Her ear trumpet?
Yeah. I reckon she figures listening's safer than looking. Remember what happened the last time Ellie had a date with Dash?
Yeah, she fell off the roof, telescope and all.
Right into the backseat of Dash's convertible.
Granny?
Wake me slow, Jed. You'll never believe the dream I'm having. Where am I? Oh, I must have been sleepwalking.
You was fixing to snoop on Dash and Ellie.
You call it snooping. I call it taking an interest. My Ellie Mae and Jethro are closer to me than my own young'uns. They're my precious jewels. All I care about is protecting them.
Thank you, Granny.
Ah! My dinner ham and my roast turkey both.
I'm only eating the turkey now, Granny. Saving the ham for a midnight snack.
Oh, you giant gizzard. I get my hands on you, I'll skin you alive.
I reckon that precious jewel has had enough protection. Now, here, get on upstairs and go to bed.
Well, here we are. Alone at last.
You can never be sure it was Granny. Oh, she'd have made a great commando.
2 minutes to 8. Middle of the night.
Well, it's been fun, Dash.
Gee, Ellie, I sure wish you could stay out later than 8 o'clock. When I can't get away from the studio until 6:30, it doesn't give us much time.
I don't mind.
Yeah, but it'd be nice to go out to dinner one night and have time to finish it.
Wasn't they nice to us at the restaurant? Putting what was left in these bags. For Bow Wow. I reckon they didn't have time to print some with our names.
Well, it's 1 minute to 8. I'd better say goodnight.
Where is he, Granny? Where's the chicken thief?
What's all the ruckus down there?
It's just Dash saying goodnight to Ellie.
Wouldn't a quiet little kiss do just as well?
Stop their hollering, Jed. It's 5 after 8. You'll wake up the whole town.
We hurried right over as soon as we got your call.
Thank you. As I was telling you, it's regarding Ellie Mae. You see, I'm getting quite serious about her.
Good.
But there are some obstacles in the way of our happiness.
What are they?
Mr. Clampett, Jethro, and Granny.
But you were with Ellie last night.
What there was of the date was fine. But bringing her home, you've got to have an armored car and a bulletproof vest.
Well, what can we do?
Well, I was thinking of running up there today in between scenes. Now, if you could talk to him before then, explain to him that my intentions are honorable and that they can trust me.
You mean they don't?
Well, I can't even hold hands with her. Every time we go into the parlor, Granny comes in there with her knitting and sits there until I leave.
Oh, dear.
Not only that, the whole time she makes me hold her yarn.
Bravo, Granny. The world needs more of that. Old-fashioned ethics, standards, principles. Hello, my dear.
This is the young lady playing Queen Anne.
You look every inch a queen, my dear.
Gee, thanks, honey. You're sweet.
She's the head of the studio's personal discovery, Miss Camille Softic. Do you mean we have to go and rehearse again already?
Yeah, Dash, you know the scene. Kiss me, Your Majesty.
And my love. Getting back to Ellie.
Oh, Miss Hathaway has volunteered to go right up and speak to Granny on your behalf.
Well, thank you, Miss Hathaway. Camille, please, I'm busy. Now, if they just let Ellie stay up a little later, 8:30, maybe 8:45. Please, Camille.
Well, I want to rehearse, Dash.
I told you later.
Excuse me, Dash. I'd be happy to stand in for you and rehearse with Miss Zoptic.
Bug off, Grandpa.
Mr. Drysdale's bank represents the owner of the studio?
Kiss me, Your Majesty.
Oh, Ellie, I want to tell you again how sorry I am about the ruckus last night.
Well, it's Dash that's going to be sorry. He drove off and left that paper bag with half his supper in it.
Well, I want you to know I had your best interest at heart. If you're ever going to be Mrs. Dash Riprock...
Well, I don't want to marry Dash.
You don't?
Why, the fella I marry's going to wear patched-up overalls and live in a little old log cabin in the hills with a bit of rocky land where we can raise some turnips and a pig or two.
As old as she is, and still thinking she can grab off a prize like that. And what a shame to let that nice-looking Dash go to waste. I gotta find somebody to matchmake him with.
Well, Granny, I came by to talk to you about Dash Riprock.
You did? Oh, you did? Nice fella, ain't he?
Oh, Granny, I think he's divine.
Jane Riprock. This is gonna be the biggest challenge of my career.
Him win.
If Dash Riprock was to walk in here right now and asked you to marry him, what would you say?
I'd say gone squirrely.
Hush, Bob. What would you say, Ellie?
Oh, well, I'd have to say no. I like him lots, but I don't love him.
I just wanted to make sure. Now, I want to match-make Dash with Miss Jane.
Miss Jane? Why, you're greening me.
Will you hush up? I don't know when your mouth is a bigger nuisance, when you're talking or when you're eating.
I think Dash and Miss Jane make a dandy couple.
Good. Now, what we have to do is to get Dash's mind off of you and on to Miss Jane. That means talking down Ellie and talking up Miss Jane.
I volunteer to talk down Ellie.
Here. Now, we gotta work fast. Miss Jane is in the parlor. She says Dash is coming by to see you today.
For a little while, he said.
Good. Now, I'll go out and start selling her on Dash. And after a little while, you come in and help.
Yes, well, this'll be easy.
I hope so. Because selling him on her is going to be harder than peddling a hairbrush to a hedgehog. And he's polite. Ain't nobody got better manners than Dash Riprock. And strong. Why, you would never need a plowing mule with Dash around.
Yes, Granny, and he's quite trustworthy.
Trustworthy? Why, he'd rather walk barefoot through a stubble field before he'd tell a lie. And he's got them rugged good looks and deep voice, and he's so all-fired charming.
Oh, Granny, stop bragging on me like that.
Dash Riprock's here. Wait till you get a look at him.
Miss Jane, we are about to meet one of the biggest movie stars in Hollywood today. And in spite of that, he is as simple and down-to-earth as anybody you'd ever want to meet.
My lady.
Well, he might have gone a little Hollywood. You run along, Jethro. Take my advice. Get rid of them show-offy clothes. You'd look a whole lot nicer in a plain suit and tie.
I've only got a few minutes. Will you tell Ellie I'm here?
Yeah. But if you only got a few minutes, I doubt if she'll make it. Usually it takes her all afternoon to put on her makeup.
That doesn't sound like Ellie Mae.
You ought to see the old gal before she slaps on her war paint. Suppose I shouldn't have said that. Shame on me.
How about that? Now she's making up excuses to keep Ellie and me apart.
I don't understand it. Before you came, she couldn't say enough good things about you.
You don't suppose Granny's got a short in her wiring, do you?
Oh, I don't think... Well, I suppose at her age, the insulation could be frayed a bit.
Hey, Granny, hey, shouldn't you be in there matchmaking or prodding old Dash or something?
Now, you leave the affairs of the heart to me. Your specialty is the stomach.
When do you think Dash is going to propose?
I just hope it's within my lifetime. I'm afraid I sold Miss Jane on Dash too strong. She's probably overeager, and she's doing everything all wrong in there.
Granny, I'd like to take Ellie out tonight.
I was right. Well, here comes our little head turner now.
Miss Jane? Oh, yeah, that's right. She sure makes me feel like turning my head. How about you, Dash? No, I mean...
Granny, I've got to get back to the studio. Can I take Ellie to a premiere tonight?
Oh, my, a premiere. Doesn't that sound exciting?
Oh, it would be thrilling, I know.
Then it's all settled. What time are you picking Miss Jane up?
What?
Oh, no, he means Ellie. Oh, you'd like to go to premiere tonight, wouldn't you, Ellie?
Well, thank you. I'd love to, Miss Jane. When are we going?
I'm taking Ellie. It's my new picture. We'll have an early dinner and...
Now, hold on. Ellie can't go unless she has a chaperone. Miss Jane.
All right, anything.
But I don't have a date.
You do now.
Me?
Now, don't worry about an early supper. You can have it right here.
Well, I was thinking of candlelight, a little spot with some romantic atmosphere.
All right. You can eat in the court and parlor.
Oh, boy.
And don't worry about the early part. I'll start serving at 4 o'clock. I thought you was in such an all-fired hurry.
Well, I do have to go. I'll see you later. Ellie, the dress is black tie.
All right. Maybe I can borrow one from Jethro.
Yeah, it's all right, Dash. I'll take care of everything.
Thanks. Goodbye, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. just fine. I hope you don't mind giving up the premiere.
Not for Miss Jane, I don't. How's this dress and shoes the only pearls look?
Just right. Now remember, my plan is to make Dash think that Miss Jane is as popular with the fellas as the punch bowl at a barn dance.
Yes, sir.
When Dash gets here, he's got to choose betwixt you and Miss Jane has got to win. Now, it ain't so far-fetched. Like fishing without bait. Yeah, ain't impossible.
Miss Jane's coming in the driveway right behind me. I gotta get upstairs and put on my premier clothes.
Now remember, at supper, I want you to reel off all of Miss Jane's good qualities to Dash.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, can you give me one to get me started?
I'll give you one right up the side of your head. Yes, Miss Jane. Now remember, we have got to get Dash to want to take Miss Jane to the premiere instead of you.
Yes, Granny.
And with you looking like that, and Miss Jane all gussied up fit to kill, it'll make it much easier.
Well, I'll bet you he'll run to ask her.
Don't ask for miracles. I'll be happy if he just shuffles over slow-like. Well, Miss Jane. My. How lovely you look.
I am so excited, I just threw on my gown and rushed right over.
Oh, then you didn't have time to fix your hair or put on your makeup.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have.
Oh, of course. These old eyes ain't what they used to be.
Ellie, surely you're not going to the premiere dressed like that.
We hadn't planned to. We expected a little more help from you.
I beg your pardon.
Hi, Dash.
Well, hello, Ella. You look absolutely... Miss Hathaway, Granny, you all look absolutely interesting.
Well, everything's ready in the curtain parlor, but you better check, Ellie. Things have been awful hectic since everybody knew that Miss Jane was going to be here.
Really? Oh, what do you mean?
The fellas that have been calling for you. Every young, good-looking matinee idol in Hollywood.
Me?
I should say. Raymond Navarro called. John Gilbert called. William S. Hart. Dustin Farmer. Rudolph Valentino. He's especially anxious to talk to you.
You must be joking.
Oh, no. The list goes on and on. Oh, that Miss Jane is a regular Vilma Banking. I wish Ellie Mae was as popular, but she only gets phone calls from her old classmates at the rest home.
Hi, Dash. Miss Jane, you're looking prettier than a smoked turkey.
Miss Jane gets them kind of compliments all the time.
I'm going to change into my premier clothes after supper. Is it time yet, Granny?
Yeah, I just hope that Ellie Mae's got Miss Jane's flowers out of the way.
Flowers?
From all of your boyfriends. They've been coming all morning.
You can't be serious.
Just look at that. With all she's got, she's modest, too. Go on in. See for yourself.
Hey, how about them flowers, Ellie? The fella at the flower shop said he cleaned out the whole place for me.
Yeah, he did.
Come on, let's go. Look at this. You think Miss Jane ain't popular? Looks like the flower store got a little mixed up. Like you're gonna get when they leave. Well, let's sit down. Riddles is almost ready. Light the candles, Dash. Before I start serving, though, I gotta give Ellie her medication.
She has to take all that?
Just 5 or 6 times a day. Oh, dear, honey. I hope you're not coming down with one of your trembling spells.
Granny, I don't understand, but...
I don't doubt it. As full of health and vigor as you are. Well, it looks like Ellie's gonna make it through dinner. I'll start serving.
What are we having, Granny?
Well, we're gonna start with ham hocks. Got your teeth in, honey? How's it going, young'uns?
Miserable. I've been eating ham hocks and complimenting Miss Jane for an hour, and Dash just keeps looking at Ellie.
I can't think of another thing to do.
Hey, you could serve dessert.
Ellie Mae Dash would like to see you. Excuse me, I think I'll go and powder my nose.
Take more than nose powdering. Might as well go on in, honey. I give up. But don't worry, Granny. I got an idea.
Okay, where's Dash?
Don't make any trouble, miss, or I shall knock your wig off. Dash is busy.
All right, then find somebody else. I want to go to that premiere because everybody in Hollywood's going to be there.
Wait a minute. Is that really a wig?
Yeah, what about it?
I know a way you can get to the premiere. But first, you gotta do me a little favor.
You sound like one of those movie producers.
So, Ellie, I want you to start thinking about settling down with me.
Well, Dash, I couldn't be happy married to a Hollywood movie star. Premieres and such just ain't my kind of life.
Forget the premieres. I'll give you any kind of life you want. Just name it.
First off, you'll have to give up that fancy penthouse apartment.
It's done. You see? Anything.
I'd want to live in a little log cabin in the hills.
A log cabin?
Uh-huh. And we'll have a little patch of ground and a goat and a pig or two and 10 or 12 young'uns. Just a small family.
10 or 12.
Yeah. Of course, you want to trade them fancy duds and shiny shoes for some overalls and a pair of clod crunchers.
Cloud crunchers?
While she's out pulling a plow all day, I'd be cooking for you. Fish head stew and baked possums, hog giles.
Oh, boy. Well, Ellie, it certainly sounds interesting.
Oh, and one more thing. I'd want to call you by your real name. The one you went by back in Peoria.
You mean...
Homer Noodleman.
Right. I want you to have some time to think about this, Ellie. Why don't I call you in a couple of years?
Sure, Homer.
You look double dandy, Miss Jane.
Camille did her best.
Ellie isn't going to the premiere, Granny. I'll have to go without a date.
Here's your date. Of course, I don't know what I'm going to say to Rudolph Valentino.
Granny, if anybody can talk to Rudolph Valentino, you can. Don't worry. It's all a bad dream anyway.
Dash! Wait a minute, Dash. Where's my date?
He's right behind you.
Ready to go to the premiere? Put pants on to cover the long johns.
I'm going to the premiere with him? You've got to be kidding.
Come here. His uncle owns the studio.
Oh, kiss me, Your Majesty.
Come on, let's go.
Mowing the lawn. I thought I'd drop by and see how you were.
Oh, no, busier than usual. But you'll have to forgive my talking whilst I work. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. Only got half this house clean. 22 rooms.
Not really.
Oh, I got an excuse. I had an extra heavy laundry to do. We had spare ribs last night for supper. And that means a couple of 100 napkins for Jethro alone.
Granny, stop a moment.
I can't. I'm behind schedule. I had to bend a new rug beater. My scrub board broke. I had to rewash all the windows after that shower last night. Then things slows the body down considerable.
Can't the youngsters help you?
Oh, they do. Jethro made me this mopper.
No, I mean do some of the work for you.
I can't trust any of them. I've only found one person who can clean to suit me, and you're looking at her.
Granny. Granny, you can't go on like this.
I know. You're standing on my mop.
At least let me help you with your work. Isn't there something I can do?
Yeah. Leave me alone so I can get on with it.
But I shall be back.
Come back about 6 o'clock. We can talk while I'm scrubbing the walls.
And it is my considered opinion that if Granny continues to do housework at this pace, she will end up in the hospital. Chief, are you listening?
How can I? Did you see this morning's paper? It's a tragedy.
Oh, dear. Did somebody pass away?
It's worse than that. The stock market. Amalgamated muffin pan is down 1/4 point.
And you're crying about that?
Well, you'd cry, too. I lost $9.25.
Well, how would you like to lose $73 million?
Oh, you mean the clamp of the car? Well, don't worry about Granny. She's stronger than both of us.
But she's working like a dynamo 20 hours a day.
So, working hard from dawn to dusk keeps people young, alive, vital. In fact, I think I'll put in a health plan like that for my employees.
Excuse us, Mr. Drysdale, Miss Jane.
Hello there.
Mr. Clampett, Ellie Mae, what can we do for you?
Well, Miss Jane, you was up the house. You seen Granny doing her housework?
Well, I only saw her briefly. When I was there, she was in a tizzy.
Tizzy, huh? She started cleaning things I never heard of.
Beg your pardon?
I'm worried about Granny's house chores. She's going to work her fingers right down to the bone.
Yeah, and the rest of us almost there now.
Now, isn't that a coincidence? I was just telling Miss Hathaway how worried I was about Granny working so hard. I'm sick of her.
I'm getting a little sick myself.
She's always doted on her housekeeping. But here lately, we're the only place in the neighborhood that gets its grass shampooed regular.
She don't even stop when she goes to bed. She sleeps with clothes under her mattress to press.
I'm afraid she's going to wear herself right down to a frazzle.
Now, wasn't I saying that very thing just a minute ago?
No.
Maybe not in so many words.
Anyway, we're going to have to move out of Beverly Hills to a smaller place.
Now, wait a minute. There must be another solution. Don't get excited. I don't think of something. Don't panic.
The answer is very simple. Granny needs housekeeping help.
We've already offered to pitch in.
Yeah, I got time on my hands. All I got is 14 acres to keep mowed and weeded.
She won't let us help.
I was referring to servants. In a house that size, they're an absolute necessity.
You know, the only way you get a housekeeper past Granny is to hold a shotgun on her.
Yeah, and even that might not work. She's dead set again.
But if I could think of a way.
Well.
But please, Mr. Clampett, you might be saving that sweet old dear's life.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Poor Mr. Drysdale.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Well,
Chief, I have tried every domestic employment agency in Beverly Hills. For the 50 cents an hour you're offering, all you can get is a babysitter.
this is an outrage. You mean in this whole city you can't find a housekeeper for the Clampetts?
In the first place, they all insist upon Christmas and New Year's Day off.
Ridiculous. I don't even give my bank employees that.
Right? You? Quiet.
Oh, no, forget it. Margaret will come up with someone.
Your wife is looking?
She knows every maid and housekeeper in Beverly Hills. They've all quit on her.
She's liable to send the wrong...
Hello? Oh, Margaret. I'm on a housekeeper for Granny. Oh, you found the perfect one, eh? What's your name? Miss Meek. Yes. Huh? You've talked to her. Good. Huh? Yes, I have the number. Oh, thank you, dear. I'm taking you out to dinner tonight for this. Yes. Make some sandwiches and we'll eat in the backyard. There. I found the housekeeper. Now, all that remains is to talk Granny into it.
You said you would take care of that.
I have. I assigned the task to my most trusted employee. Unfortunately, Crandall took sick today, so now it's up to you.
I just took sick, too.
Oh, relax. We'll drive up there together. Now, you go in and talk to her. I'll keep the motor running.
It's such a shame. If anyone else needed help, Granny would be the first to lend a helping hand.
Wait, that's it. Granny would never turn down anyone in need. Now, you tell Miss Meek to be up there in a half an hour. I'll take care of the rest.
Uncle Jed, has Mr. Drysdale talked Granny into getting a housekeeper yet?
I don't know. He's been talking at her quite a spell.
There's only 44 rooms in this whole place. What is there for a housekeeper to do?
She sounds as mad as ever. It's a wonder Mr. Drysdale was brave enough to go on in there.
He wasn't. Not until after I got Granny calmed down.
Well, how'd you do that?
With a little talk and a lot of rope.
Granny, you've got to give Miss Meek this housekeeping job.
You make it sound like it's a matter of life or death.
Well, in a manner of speaking, it is.
The money is badly needed, huh?
Only I know how much.
No, I don't want a housekeeper.
Granny, imagine a little lady just like you. Fragile, beautiful, noble, generous, a sweet little creature with just a touch of silver in her hair.
Which is so far.
Imagine her stranded on the cold and dreary sidewalks of Beverly Hills, hoping for a few moments of honest employment.
I could see her.
Imagine her desperate, humbly standing on your doorstep.
I could see her.
There she is, a mop in one hand, a bucket in the other.
She's fading.
Pleading for a job as your housekeeper.
I just lost her.
Granny, you can't turn Miss Meek away.
Oh, yes, I can. I think.
But she needs you.
All right, she can have the job. Doggone it. If I just wasn't so soft-hearted and saintly. All right, untie me. I ain't gonna hit you. And hurry up about it. If I'm gonna get a housekeeper, I want to clean the house before she gets here.
Oh, howdy there.
I'm Meek.
Well, my name is Jed Clampett. If you're the housekeeper that Mr. Drysdale got, he's still in there talking to Granny.
How many rooms in this place?
Well, until he talks her into having you around, might be safer if you to wait outside. Maybe even down the street a piece.
Are you the housekeeper? Oh, I ain't gonna hurt her, Jed. This poor dear old soul is gonna be our housekeeper. But you sure don't look as old as Mr. Drysdale said you was.
Oh, all that hard work that keeps her so young looking.
I know. That's my beauty secret, too.
All right, where are my quarters? I want to make sure they're all right.
Oh, Miss Meek, I would like to see you on the porch for a moment.
All right, you can carry in my bag.
I've got to talk to you. You are not a sweet little old lady.
Well, stop the presses.
I'm not sure that you're right for the Clampetts.
Question is, are the Clampetts right for me? I don't usually take on a job without asking for references.
References?
You can forget them this time. I'll give these farmers a chance and see how they work out.
This is impossible.
No, we'll get along fine as long as they do as they're told.
Would you open the door for me? And please be extra nice to the Clampetts. They mean more to me than my own life.
After working for Mrs. Drysdale, I can see why.
I don't remember you working for her.
I barely do myself. She fired me after 15 minutes.
Oh, Jethro, get these.
Oh, Mr. Clampett, about the housekeeper.
You ought to feel right proud of yourself, Mr. Drysdale. You're not only helping Granny, but appears like you've done a good turn for Miss Meek as well.
What?
Well, Granny told me everything you said about her being out of a job and needing money bad and all. We'll never forget you for what you done.
Probably not. Try.
Yeah. Somebody pull my drapes. I overslept. The sun's already up.
I pulled your drapes, Granny. As long as we're hiring Mrs. Meek, I want you to start taking life easier.
Don't worry, I will. There ain't nobody happier to give up housework than me.
Housekeeper will do that.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to break habits of a lifetime.
Just sit down there. Let me get you a cup of coffee. Granny, will you get a hold to yourself?
I'm through. Jed, look over there. I thought I saw a cobweb.
Granny, the way you scrub this kitchen, it's all I can do to keep paint on the walls. Now leave some for Miss Meek to do.
Well, where is she? I ain't seen her since she got here yesterday. And it don't look like she's coming down today neither. It's pretty near 6 o'clock.
This is her first day on the job. She's probably upstairs primping, getting herself all fixed up, trying to look her best first.
Hey! It's 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, don't apologize. I see you've been up fixing us a fancy hairdo.
Frankly, honey, I liked it better the way you had it yesterday.
Look, I wasn't up. I was asleep. And if those kids yelling outside my window hadn't wakened me, I'd still be.
Well, this is your first night with us. Don't worry about oversleeping a little.
It's 6 o'clock. Nobody in their right mind gets up at this hour.
Stop feeling bad about it.
Yeah, we heard of city folks that lays the bed till 8 or 9.
Really? Well, I don't know how to break this to you, but you're looking at one that's going to lay in bed till 10.
That one must have really been kicked around a lot.
Yeah, and I'm beginning to understand why.
Chief, what happened? You look as though you've been up all night.
Only because I have been. Worrying about the Clampetts leaving.
But you got them a housekeeper?
That's why I've been worrying. My wife double-crossed me with that Miss Meek.
Oh, no, you mean...
She has all the charm and tact of a hangman. And I'm the one that's getting hung. Drive the Clampetts back to the hills. Their millions will go into their hometown bank. That empty lard pail in Luke Short's general store.
Why'd you fire Miss Meek?
For a good reason. I'm afraid of her.
I'm not.
Cut out the black belt baloney. This is going to take more than brute force. The Clampetts think she's a hardship case.
Aha! You lied to them. It is said that men who twist their honor for money find themselves without either.
It is also said secretaries who preach to bosses find themselves without jobs.
Oh, all right. But are you going to just stand here and let this happen?
No, I may sit and cry a little.
If you can't fire her, maybe you could lure her away from the Clampetts with a better position.
Yes, something with higher pay and more prestige than a housekeeper.
Of course, that lets out anything down here at the bank.
Say, I know of a good job. As tough as she is, she'd make a terrific guard.
Oh, Chief, not a guard for the bank.
No, for the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, Miss Meek, you're up. I wondered if you was going to make it.
You got any coffee?
Sure. Just push them cucumbers out of the way. Would you like some breakfast? Or at this hour, would you rather have lunch?
I'll go do a little housework and then I'll have a bite.
Hey, you're the boss. I got everything ready for you. Made up a kittle of my own pine tar and possum fat furniture polish. Nothing shines better.
Yours smells worse. Anyhow, I don't do polishing.
Oh, I see. Well, I'll do it. Hey, you can start scrubbing the kitchen floor.
Scrub this floor?
Oh, yeah. I keep it so clean you can eat off of it. With Jethro around, you gotta be ready for anything.
Did they tell you? I don't scrub floors.
Well, I'll do it. You can commence washing the walls.
I'll wash walls.
Just the inside ones. I scrubbed down the outside of the house yesterday.
Well, bully for you. But I just soon climb a wall's wash it.
Well, all right, I'll do them too. You mind beating the rugs?
No rug beating.
How about the laundry?
Nothing by hand.
Ironing? I don't suppose that you would, No, I'll do that too. Well, just let's save a little time. Just what do you do?
Well, I don't mind cooking, but I get paid extra for it.
I do the cooking around here. Oh, well, all right, you can cook. I reckon you need the money. Why don't you do something with these hog jowls, grits, and collard greens?
I don't take out garbage.
Now, just a minute,
This here's my chicken Miranda. And as my way of welcoming you, I want you to have her as your very own.
Well, gee, thanks. I love stewed chicken.
Well, that ain't for stewing.
She's too old to fry.
Right, Miranda, tell the others.
I feel like getting my heavy work out of the way. I'm gonna dust.
Wait, Granny, did you hear the way she talked about my chicken? I'm starting to get hot under the collar.
You're getting hot under the collar.
Well, look at the lady's a leader. Get him a housekeeper and is already loafing around. Penny? Strange as it seems, appears all this relaxing has made you a little tense.
If that Miss Meek, we's gonna get along about as lovey-dovey as a pair of fighting cocks.
Your nose is just out of joint on account of a little thunder she stole from you. You get along with it. Don't forget she needs that money. In addition to that, she's had a lifetime of people walking on her.
I'd like to do a turkey trot on her gizzard myself. She didn't need the money. Is that the way you dust?
Sure, it's my specialty.
I know why you're here, and I'd like to do something about it.
Okay, shoot.
Don't tempt me. What? Nothing. My share of Jed's money is $15 million, and you can have it all if you'll just leave and go help some other poor old woman and leave my housekeeping to me.
$15 million? Are you kidding?
Most of it's in the bank, but I can give you a down payment of what I have in my cookie jar.
Wait a minute. This is play money.
No, it ain't. It's the real thing. 100% Confederate. What? Of course, it's all the Confederate I got. For the rest of the $15 million, I'll have to give you a different kind of money.
Great. And what can I buy with it? Park Place and Boardwalk?
My Granny, look at that Miss Meek work. She just don't stop, does she?
No, not even for money. I don't think she'll make a good housekeeper for you, Jed. She ain't up to my standard.
Oh, she's up to mine. She seemed to be doing a real fine job. Now, I'm going to walk down to Mr. Drysdale and thank him. When I come back, I want to see things different around here.
Don't worry. They will be.
Hello, Granny. I guess you're pretty happy about having Miss Meek as a housekeeper, eh, Granny?
Well, she's got a way to go to suit me. But she's up to Jed's standards, and that's what counts.
Granny, what happened here?
Well, Jed, without the right care, a house can go downhill awful fast. Of course, maybe I'm too finicky. What do you folks think?
This is terrible.
Well, then let's all go into the parlor. We can shove the dirty dishes off the sofa, and all we have to worry about is the dust.
Hey, Mr. Drysdale! Would you mind getting my bags upstairs? I'm quitting. I found me a better job.
You can't quit now. You've got this whole mess to clean up.
What mess? Looks fine to me.
Not a better job, huh?
After all the effort I made to find it, I may as well tell you, there's an opening for a jailer at the Toronto Maximum Security Prison.
Not anymore. I just took it. It ain't just the money. It's a chance to do something I really enjoy.
Well, I reckon it's up to me to clean all this up.
We'll all help you, Granny.
I'll clobber the first one that raises as much as a finger. Oh, I got joy, 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 down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. Oh,
We'll find another housekeeper for Granny right away.
Forget it, Mr. Drysdale. Anything that makes her that happy is probably good for her.
Oh, I got joy, 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 joy.
Granny, you certainly seem to be having fun.
Yep, almost as much as I did when I messed it up. Fiddles will be ready in a minute, Ellie. What you got there?
Nothing, thanks to Jethro. I just found out that old Gobblejaws ate this whole stalk of Bessie's bananas.
I hope he didn't leave any of the peels around for folks to slip on.
No, ma'am.
Good.
He ate them, too.
That's one nice thing about Jethro's eating. Very little waste.
That's a sure upset. He's got that monkey biting all 4 sets of fingernails.
Well, he'll be out of her hair and bananas directly.
How come?
Your pa's setting Jethro up in business.
Oh, fooling. What kind of business?
I don't know yet. He and Jethro's out front right now, talking heart to stomach.
Sit down, I'll tell you what I want to talk about.
But you can't just wait till after Vittles. I'm starving. I ain't had nothing to eat since breakfast but a few bananas.
Wait, boy, this is important. Jethro, the time has come in life when you and I ought to sit down and discuss...
Uncle Jed, you ain't gonna lecture me about the birds and the bees, are you? I'm a sophisticated international playboy. I know all about that stuff.
Well, what I had in mind was...
Forget it, Uncle Jed. You can't tell me nothing about the facts of life.
Well, that's comforting.
Yeah, I'm what you call a swinger. For instance, you know how I used to think that babies come from under cabbage leaves?
Yeah, I remember.
Well, they don't.
They don't.
No. That's just a story they tell little kids. How they really get here is where the birds and the bees come in. You see, there's this great big bird called a stork. Don't stop me now. At your age, you ought to be hearing me. Anyways, this stork swoops down and picks the babies up by the diapers and then slides them off the end of their beaks down folks' chimneys.
They do.
But that's the bird's part. I ain't quite figured out where the bees fit in.
Jethro, I sat down here wanting to talk about you going into the business world. Now, I ain't even sure you ought to be let out of the house.
Couldn't we save this talk till after Vittles? There's a smell of perfume in the air. Granny's cooking chicken fried fatback.
Oh, I know you're hungry, but it's time you was starting to find your way toward your life school.
Don't worry, Uncle Jed. I can smell my way to the kitchen.
Knowing how Jethro eats hot rolls, this don't seem to be enough for 4 of us.
Them is for you and me and your pa. Jethro's rolls is in the oven. Wow! I used to spend all morning baking 3 dozen rolls for Jethro. Then he come up with the idea of only making 2. Bite-sized.
Wish I had a 6th grade education. And now he must be what you call an intellectual.
Just hope he makes a good businessman.
Well, he told me when you're as smart as he is, you're to the world to teach.
He don't know what he wants to be. One day it's a Supreme Court justice, the next day it's a soda jerk.
Well, he gets him notions from them comic books he's always a-reading.
Well, as of today, there ain't gonna be no more of that. He is through leading the life of a scholar.
My very own business, huh?
That's right. Just decide what you want to be.
Well, let's see. I've always had a bent for brain surgeon. Uncle Jed, couldn't we talk about this some other time when I ain't starving?
There ain't that much time in life, boy. Concentrate. Look inside yourself. What do you see?
Nothing. I'm as empty as last year's bird's nest.
Jethro, you're choosing your life's work once and for all. Now, get food off your mind for a minute.
All right, Uncle Jed. I got food off my mind, and I done decided on my life's calling.
Good.
I'm gonna be a fry cook.
Fry cook?
Yeah, in my own restaurant. Oh, please, Uncle Jed. You gotta admit, ain't many folks know more about food than me.
Well, I grant you, there ain't many of them as et more of us.
I hope you two are through with your talk. 'Cause, Vittles is, ready! Well, these ways he ain't a finicky eater.
Be easier on that door if he was. That's the 3rd set of hinges he's going through this week.
Just hope my pots and pans hold out till he starts to work.
Well, it'll be pretty soon now. He wants to open a restaurant.
You mean serve Vittles for money?
Oh, you ought to do all right, as long as he can stay ahead of his biggest competitor.
What's that?
His stomach.
Speaking of that, we better hurry out to the kitchen whilst there's still some food left. Come on, Jim.
Sure was scrumptious, Granny. Good-sized portions for a change. But what are you all gonna eat?
You mean Ellie left you in there with all the victuals?
Yes, ma'am.
There goes your dinner, Jed. I suppose you cleaned off the whole table.
No, ma'am.
You mean you left something?
The dirty dishes. The dishwashing's your job, Granny. You ain't gonna catch me doing woman's work.
I'll catch you upside the head. Ed, don't waste another minute. Find that boy a restaurant.
I'm going to talk to Mr. Drysdale.
And do me a favor. Start looking out around Kansas City.
Granny!
Howdy, Miss Jane, Mr. Drysdale. How you feeling?
Don't ask.
You're looking awful sporty. I'm gonna fetch you up a great big dollop of catfish liver oil.
No, Granny, absolutely not. May I just have a glass of water?
You betcha, right away. Back in a jiffy.
Mr. Clampett, you wanted to talk about buying a restaurant for Jethro?
Yeah, but if you ain't feeling good, I can handle it myself. We ain't planning to spend that much money.
Really?
Oh, shucks, no. I'm 200,000 at the outside. Might have that much on me.
Where's Granny? Mr. Clampett, you shouldn't be carrying around that much money in your pocket.
Well, I tried putting it in my boot, but it made me walk lopsided.
Mr. Clampett, you stand to lose your entire investment buying a business for that big Jethro.
Well, I got it to lose. Besides, he's more or less got to be his own boss. I don't know anybody else that hire him.
I know of a slightly less expensive venture that Jethro would excel in.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, it's a profession that's crying out for new faces. He'd be self-employed, outdoors a lot, and wear a fancy uniform.
That sounds like something he'd like.
He'd be a wonderful organ grinder.
Oh, I don't know. He ain't never showed a whole heap of interest in the field.
Well, it's much cheaper than starting a restaurant, and you already have the monkey.
I hear that. Bessie ain't gonna work with Jethro less than he's on the lease, and she cranks the organ.
Forget it, Ellie. Granny ain't gonna want him hanging around street corners all day nohow.
Besides, he says he's gonna be a fry cook.
I know. Have him to come down.
Yes, sir, Pop.
I'm sorry I took so long. I couldn't find the glass.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That put the blood back in your cheeks. Forced a little into your eyeballs, too.
There's supposed to be water in here.
There is. Drop or two, but it's mostly rheumatism medicine. Well, you said I could keep a little around the house for medicinal purposes.
How much do you call a little?
No more than a gallon or two.
Miss Jane is looking for you. Now you go find her and then get rid of all that rheumatism medicine.
Just her and me? Why, 2 gallons is enough for a whole barn dam.
Hey! Take a look at what Fry Cook does. The apron was my own idea.
Jethro, you really ought to try grinding a hurdy-gurdy.
Oh, don't worry, Mr. Drysdale. When I get my restaurant, I was going to make every kind of unusual sandwich there is. A hurdy-gurdy, peanut butter and jelly.
The boy's got his heart set on cooking, sort of combining business and pleasure.
Well, I'll see what eating establishments are currently for sale.
I was going to make mine world famous. And next to my cooking, Granny's is going to taste like day-old sawdust.
Glad to see you got a hat big enough to take care of your swelled head.
I'm sorry, Uncle Jeff. Kind of got carried away by my fancy uniform.
I couldn't find Granny anywhere. Oh, why, Jethro, you look as though you just stepped off a can of corned beef hash.
Shucks, Miss Jane, thank you. Like they say, clothes makes the fry cook.
Come on, Miss Hathaway. We're buying a restaurant for Jethro. Goodbye, Mr. Clampett.
Bye.
May I have a sip of your water?
Of course not. You're driving.
I'll take the glass. Oh, and I thought of a name for my restaurant. I'm going to call it the Happy Gizzard. Bye, Miss Jane. Mr. Drysdale. Uncle Jeff, where's Granny and Ellie? I want to show them the new restaurant Mr. Drysdale got me.
I'll hurry him along. Where's the rest of your chef's outfit?
Got it in here. Didn't want to get it smudged.
Granny said she'd be right out. She had to bring something from the kitchen. Here she comes, son.
Granny, where are you going with all that stuff? Mr. Drysdale said my restaurant was fully equipped. Besides, even if it wasn't, he said it's right at Restaurant Row. I sure don't want to show up there with a bunch of beat-up old junk like that.
right, let's go. But when you are in desperate need of a buzzard egg cooker, don't come crawling to me.
Granny, Mr. Drysdale said the restaurant already has everything they need. Besides, in a city the size of Beverly Hills, they almost got to have a buzzard egg cooker.
Everything but a cook.
That's me. I'm a first-class, full-fledged fry cook.
Cook. Ha! The one time you tried to fricassee a chicken, you left the feathers on it.
Yeah, Granny. As I recall, them feathers was the tastiest part of the meal.
That ain't gonna happen again. Because I got me the biggest, fattest cookbook I could find.
Yeah, and I've been looking at you, big dog, and it's all Rosen French.
Of course it is, stupid. All the great cooks of the world is French.
Done it now, you're going too far. I'm sorry I clobbered you, Jethro. You're part of my family, and I love you. From now on, I'm going to protect you from pain and see that nothing hurts you.
Oh, come on, Granny. Will you knock off the mush?
I'll knock you.
Look at there. Maybe that's your restaurant, Jethro.
Wow! I bet it is. Oh, that ain't it. My number's 1836.
Yonder might be it.
Oh, that ain't it neither. There's a beauty. Oh, that ain't it.
How about that one?
No, I'm gonna pull down this side street and turn around. Hey, will you take a look at that dump? I've seen better-looking chicken coops.
Boy.
That place wouldn't make decent-looking firewood.
Boy, that's your restaurant.
I bet it's plumb elegant inside.
They've seen it. They're coming back. Please tell Jethro you made a mistake, that you'll find him something better.
Are you kidding? How many restaurants in this town rent for $35 a month?
Howdy, Miss Jane, Mr. Drysdale.
Come in. Oh, I know you're going to love this place. I'm just nuts about it.
That explains it. A body would have to have a bend in the brain to buy this dump.
Hurt his feelings.
This place has got everything. Oh, electric light, running water, things even to griddle. Hey, look at this, it's all ready to go.
It is?
Yeah, there's almost half an inch of grease on it.
All right, Jethro, the rest is up to you. You've got a beautiful little spot here, loaded with atmosphere. Goodbye, Mr. Clavitt, Granny. Oh, no need to thank me. It's been my pleasure. Bye-bye.
Don't say nothing to Jethro, but this place ain't worth no $200,000.
Beverly Hills property comes high, but it does seem for that kind of money they ought to throw it in glass for the window.
Probably that newfangled air conditioning that folks out here's always bragging about.
Boy, Paul, this restaurant sure had a strange sounding name before. Look at this sign I found outside.
By now, Jethro ought to have his restaurant all stocked up and open for business.
Yeah, it didn't take long cleaning it with all of us pitching in.
I bet your Granny's happy not having him here for meals no more. What's for supper, Granny?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I forgot how to fix for 3 people. I'm used to having just...
Yeah, you get used to it again.
I don't even want to. There's no challenge.
What you mean, Granny?
Well, with Jethro here, every mealtime was a kind of a test for myself. To see if I could cook enough to fill that bottomless pit of his. I never made it. But it was always something to shoot for. I miss him, Jed. I miss him setting up to the table and wolfing down his dinner in 30 seconds flat.
He was fast, all right. Fastest I ever seen.
I miss the sound of them big white teeth of his gnashing together, grinding up bones and gristle, anything. Didn't matter.
I liked it best when he ate corn on the cob.
Ain't often you meet a fella who eats it cobs and all.
What I'd give to see his knife and fork clanking together again, the sparks flying in every direction.
He did bring excitement to mealtime.
didn't matter how you cooked things, raw or burnt to a crisp. It was all the same to him.
I believe I can say about Jethro Bodine, he never met a meal he didn't like.
Let's go see him, Jed. Yeah, Pa.
Well, he's got the truck, and it's pretty near 10 miles down to his restaurant.
Short walk is good for the circulation. Come on.
I wanted him to go it alone for a spell, but I'm beginning to miss him myself.
I'll just get a few things together in case he needs them.
Well, now, let's stay out of his way. He's probably got his hands full taking care of paying customers.
Gee whiz, where is everybody? 4 hours without a customer. What could I have done wrong? Got the location, a snappy name, new glass in the windows, plenty of victuals, hot griddle. How can they stay away? Hot dog, my first customer. Hi, and welcome to the Happy Gizzard, also known as the Chitlin Club.
I'd like to use your telephone.
Have you a reservation?
Huh?
Oh, that's all right. I'm the owner. I think I can find you a stool. Right here, and get ready for some good eating.
Look, Duncan Hines, I just want to use your telephone.
Oh, okay, but first you got to order something.
I'm not hungry.
Wait till you see the menu. What do you say now?
Like a sixth grader did it.
Thank you. But the menus is only the beginning. I can cook anything, strange or exotic. The sky's the limit. How about a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich?
Okay, I'll have one of those.
Coming up. See, I got me a French cookbook. Wouldn't you just as soon have a hamburger?
Okay, a hamburger.
Gotcha. My griddle's all hot. What would you like on that, beautiful? I wouldn't laugh. There's a lot of danger in this line of work. That's the third time I've done that today. My hand ought to be medium rare by now.
Hey, look, where's your phone?
Oh, hold on. I'll get your hamburger. Have a glass of water while you're waiting. I gotta find something small enough to plug up the pipe.
How about your brain?
I got it, a carrot. Oh, one burger coming up. Let's see, I need onion. Where are the onions? The onions. There the rascals are. I'll get them.
Hey, genius, watch where you're stepping.
Don't worry, ma'am. I'm as sure-footed as a mountain goat. Doggone, my best hair. My soul's done been fried to a crisp. Didn't do my foot a whole lot of good neither. You wait right there now. I'm gonna get them rascals. I'm missing 4 of my onions.
And all of your marbles. I'm getting out of here.
Oh, wait. You can make your phone call now, and I'll cook your hamburger for you when you're finished.
All right. Where is the phone?
Get on the truck.
Truck! I want to use your phone.
You can, but I gotta drive you up to my Uncle Jed's. I ain't got one here.
Oh! Forget it.
Gone.
What's the glass doing on the floor?
My windows got broke, and so did my spirit. Streetcar conducting's looking good to me right now.
Now, take it easy. Everybody has to fall a time or two before they take the first step. I will grant you, you appear to have stumbled more than most.
I don't even feel like cooking for nobody now. I don't even feel like eating.
That is serious. It was a good thing we decided to happen by.
Hi, Granny, Ellie.
We were just in the neighborhood, and we decided to look in on you.
He walked all the way down here, wouldn't let us help her carry a thing.
What do you do with all that stuff?
Hey, you never know when you're going to find a little cooking to do. And I'd hate to be caught without my own tools.
You can relax, Jethro. She even brung along a buzzard egg cooker.
I have always felt a particular tenderness for the precise moment in this episode when the grand machinery of Hollywood, having exhausted every familiar trick, finally turns in desperation toward a chimpanzee. There is something almost pure in that pivot, something that still makes me smile with a mixture of recognition and quiet delight. The studio has tried the child star. The child star has made impossible demands, and now, in the kind of logic that only pure panic can produce, someone suggests a monkey. Every time I reach this section of the script, I feel as if I am watching the industry confess without quite realizing it is confessing that it has run out of human solutions. The crisis begins with Debbie Dimples. We never meet her. We never hear the specific list of her demands, we only see the wreckage she leaves behind. Mr. Chapman is in tears. The series that was going to be something new is suddenly impossible. I have always loved how little the script needs to tell us about those demands. The absence itself becomes funny. In the world of 1960s television, a child star's impossible demands required no further explanation. Everyone already understood the species. What matters is the effect the carefully assembled fantasy of Bachelor Sheriff Knows Best is suddenly without its sweet little dependent, and without that dependent the entire emotional architecture collapses. I still remember the first time I heard the solution spoken aloud. Well, then let it be a monkey instead of a little girl. Jungle series are very big this season. The line arrives with such practical calm that I laughed harder than the broader jokes around it. There is no sense that the speaker is joking, he is problem-solving. If the formula requires a small, dependent creature who can inspire protective affection in the audience, then the species of that creature is negotiable. A little girl or a chimpanzee both can wear the right clothes, both can be framed in soft lighting, both can look up at Riprock with wide, trusting eyes. The interchangeability is the joke, and it is a joke that still feels sharply observed. What moves me most is the quiet admission that follows. You know, I was so busy stealing from the old shows I forgot to steal from the new ones. I have quoted that sentence to friends for years, always with the same affectionate shake of the head. It is one of the most honest lines the series ever gave to the industry. It gently mocked. The executives have been so thorough in their recycling of the past that they have neglected to notice what is currently succeeding. Jungle shows are popular. Therefore, a monkey makes sense. The logic is flawless inside its own closed system. Outside that system, it is absurd. The tension between those two realities is where the comedy lives, and I never tire of it. There is a brief telling resistance. Hold it, Rip Rock will never go for a monkey as co-star. The concern is practical rather than moral. Dash's ego must be protected. The solution is equally practical, don't tell him. Put the ape in the right clothes and he may never know the difference. I find myself pausing over that line every time. It is cruel only if you choose to hear it that way. Inside the world of the episode, it is simply another piece of show business problem solving. The star must not be disturbed. The illusion must be maintained. The chimpanzee will be costumed and directed and photographed until she becomes, for the purposes of the series, a little girl with slightly more facial hair. When the conversation turns to where such a performer might be found, the answer arrives with the inevitability of a Clampett plot. I know one we can get right up at Jed Clampett's house. The rejection of Jethro is immediate and absolute. Not Jethro, no, 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 and I always laugh at the speed of it. Even in their desperation, the executives retain standards. They do not want the large, enthusiastic boy who has been haunting their offices. They want talent. They want Ellie Mae's chimpanzee cousin. The name is momentarily forgotten. What's her name? And then the sales pitch begins in earnest. She is Judy Teeter King Kong, all rolled into one. The description is perfect in its excess. It promises both sweetness and spectacle, both the childlike and the primal. I have always suspected that the writers were quietly enjoying the chance to let a studio executive describe a chimpanzee in the same language usually reserved for the next great leading lady. The final concern is the one that feels most contemporary to me even now. This is the co-starring role. We can't use an unknown. The reply is pure Hollywood optimism. He won't be once the series is on the air. Replace he with she and the sentence could have been spoken in any decade. The belief that exposure itself creates value, that the right vehicle will transform an unknown into a star, remains one of the industry's most durable faiths. In this case, the unknown is a chimpanzee who lives with a family that still keeps livestock and refers to swimming pools as cement ponds. The faith is about to be tested in the most literal way possible. I think often of the cultural moment that made this joke possible. By the middle of the 1960s, Americans had already watched chimpanzees perform in circuses, in early television programs, and in a handful of feature films. The animals had been dressed in clothes, taught to smoke cigars, and presented as comic approximations of human behavior. The leap from that tradition to casting a chimpanzee as the emotional center of a Western television series is both ridiculous and strangely logical. The episode understands the tradition and gently pushes it one step further. What happens if the chimpanzee is not merely comic relief but the co-star? What happens if the studio invests real hope in her? What I feel most strongly returning to these scenes is a kind of grateful amusement. The decision to cast Cousin Bessie is the moment the episode's two worlds truly begin to merge. Hollywood, having exhausted its human options, reaches for something that lives inside the Clampett household. The family that has always been treated as comic outsiders is suddenly in possession of the one creature the studio believes can save its series. The irony is rich, and the script never underlines it too heavily. It simply lets the decision stand and then sends the executives up the hill to the mansion. I have watched this sequence with different eyes at different ages. As a child, I laughed at the idea of a monkey in a Western. As a young adult, I admired the precision of the satire. Now older, I find myself moved by the quiet desperation underneath the jokes. These men are not fools. They are professionals who have run out of familiar solutions and are willing in their panic to try something that would have been unthinkable only a few scenes earlier. The chimpanzee is not a punchline to them. She is a last resort that might actually work. That willingness is what stays with me. In the world of Bachelor Sheriff Knows Best, a child star's demands can end a series, but a chimpanzee's presence might save it. The values are inverted in the most delightful way. And somewhere on the Clampett estate, unaware of the destiny about to be offered to her, Cousin Bessie continues whatever quiet chimpanzee business she was engaged in before the telephone rang in the studio offices. I am grateful every time for the grace with which the episode handles the turn. There is no cruelty toward the animal, no sense that she is being mocked. She is simply the next logical solution in a system that has forgotten how to invent. The fact that the solution lives with Jed and Granny and Ellie Mae and Jethro is what makes the coming collision feel inevitable and right. Hollywood has made its choice. The monkey is about to become a co-star, and I, watching from the other side of so many years, still feel the same small lift of anticipation I felt the first time I understood what was about to happen. The child star is gone. The chimpanzee is coming. Everything that follows will grow from that single perfect, ridiculous decision. I have watched the audition scene at the Clampett mansion more times than I can count, and every single viewing still leaves me with the same complicated mixture of delight and protectiveness. There is something almost sacred to me about the way the episode stages this encounter, two Hollywood professionals arriving with their practiced expectations, only to find themselves undone by a chimpanzee who has never heard of method acting and a large young man who believes with complete sincerity that the afternoon belongs to him. I feel each time as if I am being allowed to witness a small miracle of comic timing and character truth. The arrival itself is pure Clampett hospitality colliding with studio formality. Mr. Chapman has brought his new director Otto von Schlepper, freshly imported and already slightly wilting in the California light. Irene Ryan's Granny greets them with that particular blend of mountain courtesy and unfiltered observation that I have loved for decades. When she offers to cure the director's tic and perhaps grow hair for him as well, I still laugh out loud. The line is delivered without a trace of malice. Granny simply sees a man who looks as if he could use a remedy, and she happens to have remedies. The fact that the man is a European film director of some presumed reputation means nothing beside the evidence of his scalp. I have always cherished that moment because it establishes in a single breath whose world we are actually standing in. Jethro is summoned with the kind of excitement that only he can generate. "Hot dog," he says, already certain that Dash has finally come through for him. Max Baer Jr. plays the preparation with such open hope that I feel my own chest tighten a little. He has arranged himself into what he believes a leading man should look like. The script describes the effect as something close to a man who ate a bad knockwurst. The visual is immediate and perfect. There is makeup, there is effort. There is the painful sincerity of someone who has studied the surface of glamour without any access to its interior. When he presents himself ready to do his Valentino stager, I feel the same protective urge I felt when I was young and watched him try so hard. Then the real performer appears. The shift is one of the cleanest comic turns the series ever executed. Jethro is still standing there radiating readiness when Cousin Bessie is brought forward. The director's attention moves with absolute finality. "Never mind, here comes the real monkey." The line is brutal only if you are Jethro. For everyone else it is simply accurate. I have always been struck by how little the script underlines the cruelty. It trusts us to feel it through Bear's face. Through the sudden stillness that falls over the large young man who has just understood without yet understanding that the afternoon was never his. What follows is the audition proper, and it remains for me one of the purest pieces of physical comedy in the entire run of the show. Von Schlepper begins to direct the chimpanzee. "Let me have anger." Bessie performs something that satisfies him. "Now show me sorrow." Another satisfactory response. "Show me passion." The director is transported. A star is born. I have never been able to watch this sequence without laughing, yet the laughter is always accompanied by a second, quieter feeling. The chimpanzee is simply being a chimpanzee, the director is seeing a performance. The gap between those two realities is where the comedy lives, and it is a gap the episode never closes. We are allowed to enjoy both the absurdity of the praise and the strange dignity of the animal who has done nothing except exist in front of a man desperate to find a solution. I think often of the cultural context that made this scene possible. By the late 1960s, American audiences had grown accustomed to chimpanzees in entertainment dressed up, trained to approximate human gestures presented as comic mirrors. What the Beverly Hillbillies does here is quietly subvert that tradition. Bessie is not required to smoke a cigar or ride a bicycle. She is asked for emotional states, anger, sorrow, passion. The director speaks to her as if she were a trained actress capable of accessing an interior life on command. The fact that she somehow satisfies him is both the joke and the mystery. I have always preferred to believe that Bessie simply did what chimpanzees do, and that von Schlepper, hungry for a miracle, translated those natural movements into the language of performance he already knew. Jethro's realization arrives in fragments. He watches the praise being lavished on the chimpanzee. He hears the words co-starring role. He understands slowly that the contracts being discussed are not for him. The script gives him a line that still catches me: "Who they come up here to audition, blame monkey or me." The grammar is pure Jethro, but the emotion is transparent. He is not angry yet. He is simply trying to make the pieces fit, and the pieces refuse. Max Baer Jr. plays that confusion with a kind of wounded openness that I have never stopped admiring. There is no defensive bluster, not yet. There is only the quiet shock of a young man discovering that the dream he dressed for belonged to someone else. Granny's diagnosis: a bad knockwurst for sure. I know heartburn when I see it is both comic and oddly tender. She sees the physical symptoms of disappointment and translates them into the language she trusts. I love her for that. In a scene filled with Hollywood language about stars being born, Granny remains grounded in the body and its plain distress. Her attention to Jethro in this moment feels like a small act of loyalty. The world may have just handed the co-starring role to a chimpanzee, but Granny is still watching the boy who tried so hard. What stays with me most after so many viewings is the gentleness with which the episode handles the transfer of hope. Jethro's dream is not mocked out of existence, it is simply set aside with a kind of narrative patience while another stranger dream takes its place. The chimpanzee will have the contracts, Jethro will have to find another way to matter, and somewhere in the space between those two facts the series finds a tone that is both hilarious and strangely kind. I have sat with this scene in different moods across the years. Sometimes I laugh until I lose my breath at the director's rapturous praise. Sometimes I feel a sharp protective pang for Jethro standing there in his careful makeup. Sometimes I simply marvel at the precision with which the writers staged the collision: two men from the studio, a mountain family, a chimpanzee, and a young man who wanted so badly to be chosen. The elements should not work together as gracefully as they do. Yet every time I return, the scene feels inevitable, as if it could not have happened any other way. A star is born, the director declares. He is speaking of Bessie. But in another, quieter sense, the scene also crystallizes something essential about Jethro. We see with absolute clarity the size of his hope and the softness of his heart. That visibility is its own kind of birth. The episode will give the contracts to the chimpanzee. It will give Jethro something more lasting, the chance to remain completely himself, while the machinery of Hollywood declares a different star. I have never stopped being grateful for the distinction. I have always found the stretch of the episode in which Jethro fully claims the co-starring role to be one of the most delicate and strangely moving sequences in the entire series. There is a particular quality to Max Baer Jr.'s playing here that I have never been able to watch without feeling a complicated tug of affection and protectiveness. The boy has just watched a chimpanzee receive the praise he believed was meant for him. Yet somehow in the next breath he has reconstructed the events into a story in which he is still the star. I know the precise moment the delusion hardens. I have returned to it so many times that it feels less like a comic beat and more like a small private window into the way hope can rearrange reality when the alternative is simply too painful. It begins almost quietly. Jethro comes away from the audition with the contracts mentioned, the director's excitement still ringing in the air and his own name somehow still attached in his mind to the opportunity. When Ellie Mae confronts the possibility that he might actually have been given a part, his correction is immediate and absolute, not an acting part. I am the co-star. The distinction matters deeply to him. An acting part would be something given. The co-starring role is something he has become. I feel the difference every time I hear the line. Baer delivers it with a kind of radiant certainty that makes the surrounding skepticism bounce off him like light. The family does not believe him, of course. Ellie Mae's reaction is pure older cousin exasperation mixed with the beginning of real concern. There is a moment when she seems ready to strike him and Jed's mild intervention, "Don't let her hit me, Uncle Jim. My face is my fortune," still makes me laugh even as it tightens something in my chest. Jethro has already begun to speak of his face as an asset that must be protected. The ego is inflating in real time, and the script allows us to watch every stage of the expansion with remarkable patience. He does not yet know that the co-starring role belongs to Bessie. He only knows that something important has happened, and he has decided that the something is him. What I love most about this section is how completely the episode refuses to punish Jethro for the mistake. There is no cruel revelation forced upon him in front of the family. Instead, the misunderstanding is allowed to breathe. He begins to plan. He will need a horse. It must be white. It must be as smart as he is. The requirements are spoken with the same seriousness he once brought to his makeup and wig. I have always heard underneath the comedy, the voice of a young man trying to assemble the external evidence of the identity he has claimed. If he is the co-star of a Western, then he must look like the co-star of a Western. The logic is circular and airtight inside his own mind. Jed's quiet observation that the only horses that dumb are on a merry-go-round is the kind of gentle deflation the series does better than almost any other comedy of its era. There is no meanness in it. There is only the tired knowledge of a man who has watched this particular nephew inflate and deflate more times than he can count. Buddy Ebsen plays the reaction with that particular economy of expression I have admired for years. One small shift of the eyes, a slight pause, the sense that Jed is already calculating how much damage control will eventually be required. I find myself trusting Jed more in these moments than in almost any other. He does not shame Jethro. He simply prepares quietly for the moment the air will leave the balloon. I think often of how carefully the script manages the audience's knowledge. We know the truth. Jethro does not. The family exists in a middle state of disbelief that has not yet hardened into certainty. The comedy lives in that triangular tension. Every time Jethro restates his new identity, the gap between what he believes and what we know grows a little wider, and yet the episode never forces the gap closed too quickly. It lets him enjoy the role for a little while. It lets him walk around inside the story he has written for himself. That generosity still feels unusual to me. Most comedies would have rushed to the humiliation. The Beverly Hillbillies prefers to let the dream run a little longer, and I am always grateful for the extra time. There is a moment when Jethro begins to speak of the fame that will arrive overnight. He mentions William S. Hart in the same breath that he dismisses the idea that anyone could become a star that quickly, and the contradiction is pure. Jethro simultaneously knowledgeable and completely unself-aware. I have always found that particular mixture endearing rather than frustrating. He has absorbed fragments of Hollywood lore the way he absorbs everything else. In pieces that never quite form a coherent whole, the pieces are enough to fuel the current fantasy. They are not enough to protect him from what is coming. As the section progresses, the inflated ego begins to generate its own practical consequences. He will need to practice. He will need the right clothes. He will need to look the part when he rides down to the studio to sign the contracts he still believes are his. The physical world has already begun to rearrange itself around the delusion. I watch these preparations with the same mixture of amusement and mild dread that I feel when someone I love is about to walk into a situation they have completely misread. The difference is that Jethro is protected even now by the peculiar grace of the series. The humiliation when it arrives will not be designed to break him. It will simply return him a little wiser and a little more himself to the family that never needed him to be a co-star in the first place. What stays with me most is the tenderness underneath the comedy. Max Baer Jr. never plays the inflated ego as arrogance. He plays it as hope that has temporarily lost its bearings. There is a softness in the performance that keeps the character lovable even at his most ridiculous. I have returned to this section in different moods across the years, sometimes needing the laugh, sometimes needing the reminder that the desire to be chosen is one of the most human things we ever feel. Jethro's version of that desire is larger and louder and far funnier than most, but the root is recognizable. That recognition is why the scene continues to matter to me. The mistaken identity will not last forever. The inflated ego will meet the hard surface of reality soon enough. But for these few minutes, the episode allows Jethro to live inside the story he prefers. I have never stopped being grateful for the courtesy. In a medium that often rushes to puncture its characters' dreams, the Beverly Hillbillies chooses again and again to let the dream breathe first. The air will come out of the balloon. The truth about Bessie will arrive, and Jethro will still be standing large and hopeful and somehow unbroken. That more than any single joke is what I carry away from this section every single time. I have always believed that the physical comedy sequences surrounding Jethro's sudden education in cowboy skills are among the purest expressions of what the Beverly Hillbillies could do when it trusted its performers and its audience, in equal measure. There is a particular joy I feel every time the episode turns from the quieter misunderstandings of identity and begins to let Max Baer Jr. loose in the open air with a rope, a pair of guns and eventually a horse the size of a small automobile. The laughter these scenes produce in me is never simple. It is layered with recognition, with protectiveness, and with a kind of grateful amazement at how completely the series understood the difference between confidence and competence. The rope practice arrives first, and it remains for me a small masterclass in escalating disaster. Jethro has decided that a co-star of a Western must know how to lasso. He has learned the skill, he tells Dash only 20 minutes earlier. The admission itself is pure Jethro. There is no sense that 20 minutes might be insufficient. He simply announces the fact and proceeds. When he takes the wrong end of the rope, I feel the same anticipatory wince I felt the first time I watched it. The physical business is described with beautiful clarity. Even in the rough transcript, he twirls, he throws, he gives a big yank. The result is Granny, who has been standing in the wrong place at the wrong moment, suddenly airborne and deposited in the rose bushes across the street. Irene Ryan's exit is a thing of comic beauty. She does not merely leave the frame, she is removed from it by the force of her grandson's enthusiasm. What I love most about the aftermath is the family's reaction. There is exasperation, of course. There is the usual inventory of how much worse it could have been. But there is also an undercurrent of resigned affection that I have never stopped cherishing. Jed's observation that Jethro could have been hurt worse if Ellie had reached him first carries the particular dry warmth Buddy Ebsen brought to every one of these moments. No one is truly angry. They are simply living inside the latest installment of a story they already know by heart. Jethro will attempt something beyond his current ability. The attempt will produce chaos. The family will absorb the chaos and continue. The pattern is so reliable that it has become for me a kind of comfort. The fast draw sequence that follows is even more precisely calibrated. Jethro wants to demonstrate his skill with a gun. Dash, with the weary patience of a man who has already endured the rope, agrees to count to 3. The count itself becomes a small comic problem. 3 what before the guns come out. What happens next still makes me laugh until my eyes water. Jethro is fast. He is so fast that the guns appear to have fired themselves in the general direction of his own feet. Dash's assessment is perfect in its deadpan horror. Another accident like that and Jethro will become the first cowboy in history wearing open-toed boots. The image is so vivid, so immediately visual, that I can close my eyes and see it clearly decades after first encountering it. Max Baer Jr. sells the moment without ever tipping into pure cartoon. There is real surprise on his face, real chagrin, and underneath both a residual pride that he was at least fast. I have returned to this exchange many times when thinking about the nature of physical comedy in the series. The joke is not that Jethro is clumsy. The joke is that his enthusiasm consistently outruns his control. He wants the skill so badly that he skips the long middle part where competence is slowly built. 20 minutes with a rope, a few private practice sessions with the guns, the results are inevitable and somehow still surprising. That combination, inevitability and surprise, is one of the series' quiet signatures, and it has never felt more alive to me than it does here. Then the horse arrives. Ellie Mae, practical and quietly amused, has found him the perfect mount. The animal is a Clydesdale. He weighs almost a ton. He stands 18 hands high. Jethro names him Clyde, and the name is spoken with the same pride he might have used for a sleek white stallion. The visual is immediate and overwhelming. This is not a cowpony. This is a draft horse built to pull heavy loads, not to carry a would-be television cowboy into the sunset. The family's reactions are a study in restrained hilarity. Someone suggests the horse should have been named Oversized. Someone else notes that what is under the saddle is the real concern. Jed's quiet hope that the animal's legs will hold up carries the particular dry understatement that always makes me smile. The attempts to ride Clyde produce some of the most sustained physical comedy in the episode. The horse will not move. Jethro urges him with increasing desperation. Hi-ho Clyde, away, pound them hooves faster, boy, fly like the wind, and receives nothing in return. The revelation when it comes is perfect. Clyde is a draft horse. He will not move unless he is pulling a wagon. The logic is unassailable and completely at odds with every Western fantasy Jethro has ever absorbed. I feel a particular delight in that collision. The romantic image of the cowboy and his trusting mount meets the practical reality of a work animal who knows his job and sees no reason to deviate from it. What moves me about these scenes beyond the laughter is the way they continue the episode's larger conversation about identity and preparation. Jethro has claimed the role of co-star. He has therefore set about acquiring the external markers of that role: rope skills, gun skills, a horse. Each acquisition fails in a different and specific way. The failures are not random. They are precisely matched to the gap between the fantasy he is chasing and the reality he actually inhabits. The series never lectures him about that gap. It simply allows the physical world to demonstrate it again and again with escalating clarity. I think often of the tenderness that still surrounds these disasters. No one in the family uses the failed rope trick or the near self-shooting or the immobile horse as evidence that Jethro should abandon his hopes. They absorb the chaos. They offer the occasional dry observation. They prepare quietly for the next attempt. That stance feels to me like a form of love. It is not the kind of love that protects someone from failure. It is the kind that stays nearby while the failure happens and is still there when the dust settles. I have valued that distinction more as I have grown older. Max Baer Jr.'s physical commitment in these scenes remains remarkable. The rope work, the gun business, the mounting and urging of a horse that refuses to cooperate, all of it is played with a full-bodied sincerity that never winks at the audience. He believes in the moment that the skill is almost there. The almost is what makes the comedy land. I have watched other performers play similar aspirational clumsiness and felt only distance. With Bear, I feel proximity. I feel the effort. I feel the residual hope that the next try might finally work. By the time the wagon is suggested as the only practical solution, the section has completed its quiet argument. Jethro can have the horse. He can even ride in the general direction of the studio, but he will do it under conditions that bear almost no resemblance to the images he has carried in his head. The cowboy fantasy has met the draft horse reality, and the draft horse has won. The episode does not treat this as a defeat, it treats it as information. And Jethro, large and still hopeful, begins to make the necessary adjustments. I carry these scenes with me because they capture something essential about the way the series understood ambition. Dreams are not crushed here. They are simply translated into the only terms the physical world will accept. The rope will sometimes catch the wrong target. The guns will sometimes point at the wrong feet. The horse will sometimes refuse to move without a wagon. None of these facts eliminate the dream. They only shape the particular form it is allowed to take. That shaping feels, to me, like a kind of wisdom. And every time I watch Jethro climb aboard Clyde once more, I feel the same mixture of laughter and quiet respect I felt the first time I understood what the episode was really showing me. I have always considered the wagon sequence to be one of the most purely joyful stretches of physical and conceptual comedy the series ever produced. There is a particular pleasure I take in watching the careful logic of the Clampett world collide head-on with the polished surface of Beverly Hills, and nowhere is that collision more satisfying to me than in the moments when Jethro finally accepts that the only way to reach the studio is by wagon pulled by a draft horse with a chimpanzee as required passenger. Every time I return to these scenes, I feel a bright anticipatory delight. As if I am about to watch a parade that was never meant to happen and yet somehow feels inevitable. The problem is stated with beautiful simplicity. Clyde will not move unless he is pulling a wagon. The information is delivered without drama, as if it were the most ordinary fact in the world. Jethro's reaction is anything but ordinary. The idea of arriving at Mammoth Studios not on a rearing white stallion but behind a plow horse hits him like a personal insult. I can't ride to the movie studio pulling that thing, he protests, and the line carries the full weight of every Western fantasy he has ever absorbed. I feel the disappointment with him even as I laugh. The image he has been building in his mind, tall in the saddle, solitary, impressive, has just been replaced by something closer to a farm implement on a public street. The further complication arrives with the same practical calm. Clyde will not pull the wagon unless Cousin Bessie is riding in it. The two of them, we are told, are hair-turn fond of each other. The explanation is so pure, so completely of the Clampett universe that I never tire of it. There is no scientific discussion of animal behavior. There is only the observed fact of their attachment, spoken as if it were as reliable as gravity. Jethro's horror deepens. It is no longer merely a wagon. It is a wagon containing a monkey. The public spectacle is beginning to take shape before the wheels have even turned. What I love most about the preparation is the way the script allows Jethro's resistance to be both comic and strangely dignified. Do you think that I'm gonna ride down to the movie studio through the middle of Beverly Hills riding this plow horse pulling that wagon with that monkey in it? What kind of a jerk do you think I am? The question is sincere. In his mind, the answer is obvious. Only a person without pride would accept such terms. And yet the alternative, staying home, abandoning the contracts he still believes are his, is unacceptable. The tension between dignity and desire produces some of the episode's most precise comedy. I have watched this negotiation many times and never failed to feel a small surge of sympathy for the large young man who is being asked to surrender every external marker of the role he has claimed. The journey itself is left mostly to our imagination, which I have always considered a quiet strength. We do not need to see every turn through the manicured streets. We only need to understand that it is happening, that somewhere in Beverly Hills, a Clydesdale is pulling a wagon containing a chimpanzee and a would-be television co-star who is trying very hard not to attract attention. The request Jethro makes of Bessie quit making so much noise. I don't want to attract no attention is so perfectly doomed that I laugh every time. The attention is inevitable. The only question is what form it will take. When they finally arrive at the studio, the form becomes clear. The reaction of the people on the lot is immediate and unfiltered. Someone asks whether a circus has left its freak show behind. The language is harsh by modern standards, yet inside the episode it functions as pure status comedy. The carefully maintained world of Mammoth Studios has just been entered by a combination of elements it has no category for. A draft horse. A wagon. A chimpanzee. A large young man in cowboy clothes who is already speaking of co-star billing. The collision is total and I feel a bright satisfaction every time it occurs. Jethro's behavior upon arrival continues the delicate balance the episode has maintained throughout. He carries Bessie toward the dressing rooms with a kind of proud solicitude, nothing's too good for the co-star, while still trying to assert his own importance. The bananas appear on cue. The demand for them is spoken with the same confidence he once brought to his makeup and wig. I have always found this particular insistence endearing rather than absurd. In Jethro's mind, the hierarchy is still negotiable. Bessie may have the co-starring role, but he is the one who understands what a star requires. The fact that what a star requires is a large quantity of bananas only deepens the pleasure. There is a moment when someone on the lot looks at the entire procession and simply says, "There's our star." The line is directed at Bessie, but the visual includes everything: the horse, the wagon, the young man who has brought them. I have always heard a quiet secondary meaning in the words. The star is not only the chimpanzee, the star is the entire impossible combination that has just rolled through the gates. Hollywood has spent the first half of the episode trying to manufacture a sure winner out of recycled parts. What has arrived instead is something that cannot be recycled because it has never existed before. A draft horse, a wagon, a chimpanzee, and Jethro Bodine. The spectacle is complete. I think often of the cultural resonance of this sequence. In the middle of the 1960s, Beverly Hills was already a place that prided itself on controlled surfaces and carefully managed appearances. The arrival of the Clampett wagon is a temporary rupture in that control. It is not an attack. It is simply a reminder that other logics exist, other relationships between animals and people, other definitions of what belongs in a public space. The episode never lectures on the subject. It simply allows the wagon to appear and then allows the studio to react. The reaction is where the comedy lives, and it is a comedy I have never stopped enjoying. What stays with me most is the tenderness that still surrounds Jethro even at the height of the spectacle. He is ridiculous. He is also loyal. He has accepted conditions that offend his sense of dignity because the alternative was to abandon the creature who has been given the role he wanted. The wagon is humiliating. It is also a form of care. That double truth feels essential to me. The series could have played the arrival as pure mockery of Jethro's pretensions. Instead, it plays it as the logical endpoint of a set of affections and practical constraints that the Clampett world takes seriously. Clyde will not move without the wagon. The wagon will not move without Bessie. Therefore, Jethro will drive the wagon. The syllogism is flawless. The visual is unforgettable. Every time I watch the procession reach the studio gates, I feel the same lift of pleasure I felt the first time I understood what the episode had built. The cowboy fantasy has been completely translated into Clampett terms. The white stallion has become a Clydesdale. The solitary ride has become a wagon with a required chimpanzee passenger. The grand entrance has become a public spectacle that the studio cannot categorize. And through it all, Jethro continues, large and determined and still half convinced that the story might yet turn out the way he imagined. That persistence moves me. The spectacle delights me. The combination of the two is why I return to this section with undiminished affection year after year, as if I were once again standing on the curb in Beverly Hills watching a parade that no one scheduled and everyone will remember. I have always felt a special, almost tender delight in the moment when Jethro Bodine decides that if he cannot be the co-star, he will become the co-star's agent. There is something so pure in that pivot, something so completely true to the character that I find myself smiling before the first demand is even spoken. The boy who spent the morning in a blonde wig and romantic makeup has looked at the situation, absorbed the disappointment, and immediately constructed a new role that still places him at the center of the action. I admire the speed of the adjustment. I admire even more the scale of the ambition that follows. The transformation happens with remarkable efficiency. One moment Jethro is carrying Bessie toward the dressing rooms with proprietary care. The next he is announcing himself as her 10%er. The language of Hollywood representation arrives fully formed, as if it had been waiting inside him for exactly this opportunity. I'm Bessie's 10%er, he declares, and the sentence carries the same radiant certainty he once brought to the claim that he himself was the co-star. Max Baer Jr. plays the shift without any visible transition. There is no period of doubt, no tentative trial of the new identity. The agent simply appears fully inflated and begins to work. The demands themselves remain for me one of the great comic inventories in the series: co-star billing, script approval, an awful good hairdresser, and then the masterpiece 10,000 bananas a week, of which Jethro will retain 10% or 1,000 bananas for himself. I have never been able to hear that list without laughing, yet the laughter is always accompanied by a secondary feeling of recognition. Jethro has understood the form of negotiation, even if he has completely rewritten the currency. He knows that a representative fights for the client's status, for control over the work, for the small comforts that signal importance. He has simply translated those abstract goods into the only units that make sense inside the Clampett-Bessie relationship. Billing becomes bananas, approval becomes bananas. The hairdresser, one assumes, will also eventually be paid in bananas. What moves me about the scene is the seriousness with which he presents the package. There is no sense that he is joking. The numbers are spoken with the same gravity a real agent might bring to a discussion of points and back-end participation. When the studio executives react with predictable outrage, ridiculous, we'll just get another monkey, Jethro does not collapse. He shifts into the next phase of negotiation with the same unshaken confidence. 1,000 bananas, 500, a couple of bunches. The downward revision is rapid and completely unembarrassed. I love him for that flexibility. The opening ask was always a starting position. The true goal is simply to remain in the room, to keep the relationship alive, to ensure that Bessie's interests and therefore his own continue to be represented. I think often of the cultural joke embedded in the currency itself. By the middle of the 1960s, the idea of the Hollywood agent as a 10% predator was already well established in popular culture. The Beverly Hillbillies takes that figure and rebuilds it around a young man whose primary client is a chimpanzee and whose primary unit of value is fruit. The satire is gentle but precise. The form is identical, only the content has changed. And because the content is so clearly rooted in affection, Jethro does not want the bananas because he plans to sell them, but because he plans to eat them. The entire structure feels more like loyalty than exploitation. He is not skimming. He is sharing the harvest. The studio's counter-arguments only deepen the pleasure. They threaten to replace Bessie with another monkey. Jethro's response is immediate and personal. He has already begun to transform her. You see what I've done for her? She is going to be a real big star. The claim is absurd and somehow also touching. In the short time since the audition, he has already constructed a narrative of development, of career guidance, of the slow replacement of sweet, naive little girl quality with something more glamorous. That he is describing a chimpanzee makes the speech funnier. That he believes every word makes it oddly moving. I have watched real agents speak of their clients with less conviction. There is a moment when the negotiation threatens to collapse entirely, and Jethro's panic is brief but real. The possibility that Bessie might be dismissed is unacceptable to him. The agent identity is still new, but the protective instinct underneath it is not. He has claimed her as his client, and therefore her success has become his responsibility. The speed with which he begins to bargain down from the original 10,000 reveals how little the specific number ever mattered. What mattered was the role, the chance to stand between Bessie and the machinery of the studio, and to speak on her behalf in a language the machinery might understand. I have returned to this scene in different moods across the years. Sometimes I am simply delighted by the pure invention of the banana economy. Sometimes I am struck by how accurately the sequence captures the emotional structure of representation, the way an agent's identity can become entangled with the client's status, the way the fight for one becomes a fight for both. Jethro does not yet know how little power he actually possesses. He only knows that he has found a new way to matter inside the story that began with his own rejected ambition. That discovery feels to me like a small victory, even as the comedy around it grows broader. The final rounds of bargaining 1,500 a couple of bunches have the rhythm of a classic market negotiation conducted in the wrong currency. The executives are exasperated. Jethro is undeterred. And somewhere nearby Bessie continues to exist as the calm center of a storm she did not create and cannot understand. The asymmetry is perfect. The human beings are speaking at high volume about percentages and replacements. The chimpanzee is simply present, the silent reason for all the noise. What stays with me most is the tenderness that still surrounds the entire performance. Max Baer Jr. never plays the agent as a predator, he plays him as a young man who has found a way to remain close to the only piece of the dream that is still available. The 10% is not a scam. It is a claim of belonging. The bananas are not a joke about greed. They are the only medium of exchange that makes sense in the relationship as it actually exists. The series could have mocked the pretension of the role. Instead, it allows the role to be played with complete sincerity, and the sincerity is what makes the comedy land with such surprising softness. Every time I watch Jethro open the negotiation, I feel the same quiet lift of pleasure. The boy who wanted to be a romantic leading man has become a 10%er whose client is a chimpanzee. The translation is ridiculous. It is also strangely graceful. And in the gap between those two truths, I continue to find one of the episode's most lasting gifts, the reminder that ambition, when filtered through genuine affection, can take the most unexpected forms and still retain its essential dignity. The bananas are funny. The loyalty underneath them is not. I have never stopped being grateful that the episode knows the difference. I have always considered the quiet aftermath of Jethro's agent performance to be one of the most emotionally precise passages in the entire episode. The big demands have been made, the bananas have been negotiated. The studio has reacted with the expected mixture of outrage and reluctant fascination, and then slowly the air begins to leave the room in a different way. What remains is not the high comedy of inflated ego, but something softer and more exposed. The moment when a young man fully understands the shape of what has been given and what has been withheld. Every time I reach this section, I feel a familiar tightening in my chest, a protective instinct that has never diminished across decades of rewatching. The realization does not arrive as a single dramatic blow, it settles in fragments. Jethro has spoken the language of representation with complete conviction. He has claimed the 10%. He has bargained with the seriousness of a man protecting a star, and yet somewhere underneath the performance the earlier truth is still waiting, that the co-starring role itself was never his. The script allows us to watch the two facts coexist for a little longer than expected. The agent identity is real inside the moment. The rejected leading man dream is also real. The tension between them produces a kind of quiet heartbreak that the broader physical comedy never quite erases. Granny is the first to diagnose the symptoms. She has been watching him with the particular attention she reserves for her most vulnerable charges. When she declares that he looks like a man who has eaten a bad knockwurst, the line is funny, but the observation underneath it is exact. She sees the physical cost of the emotional adjustment, heartburn she names it, and the word becomes a gentle stand-in for everything that cannot be spoken directly. I have always loved Irene Ryan in these moments. She does not demand that Jethro confess his disappointment. She simply names the bodily evidence and stays nearby. The care is practical, unsentimental, and complete. Jed's response is quieter still. Buddy Ebsen had a gift for playing attention that did not need to announce itself. He watches. He measures the distance between the story Jethro has been telling and the facts as they now stand. There is no lecture. There is only the steady presence of a man who has seen this particular nephew rise and fall enough times to know that the falling is part of the process. I find myself trusting that presence more with each viewing. Jed does not try to restore the dream. he simply makes sure the ground under Jethro's feet remains solid while the dream changes shape. Ellie Mae's reaction carries a different temperature. There is exasperation, of course, the long-standing cousinly impatience with Jethro's ability to inflate and deflate on a schedule of his own making, but there is also a flash of real protectiveness. When she moves as if to strike him earlier in the episode, the impulse is comic. In this later stretch, the same energy softens into something closer to concern. Donna Douglas always played that balance with remarkable clarity. Ellie Mae can be amused by Jethro and still refuse to let the world damage him more than necessary. The combination feels to me like one of the series' most reliable forms of love. What moves me most is the way the episode refuses to humiliate Jethro in the classic comic sense. The ingredients for humiliation are all present: the public claiming of a role that belongs to a chimpanzee, the elaborate agent performance conducted in front of studio professionals, the gradual recognition that the contracts were never going to have his name on them. A different kind of comedy would have forced him to stand in the center of that recognition and absorb the laughter. The Beverly Hillbillies chooses a kinder route. The recognition is allowed to happen in pieces. The family absorbs the pieces without requiring a formal surrender. Jethro is permitted to keep the agent identity even as the larger fantasy dissolves. The dignity is partial, but it is real. I think often of the physicality Max Baer Jr. brings to this quieter phase. The large body that earlier filled the frame with enthusiasm now carries a different weight. There is a slight heaviness in the shoulders, a delay in the responses, the sense of a man replaying recent events and finding that the math no longer works the way he expected. Baer never overplays the shift, he simply lets the energy contract. The contrast with the earlier inflated sequences makes the contraction visible without a single exaggerated gesture. I have admired that restraint for years. It trusts the audience to feel the change rather than demanding that we be shown it in capital letters. The heartburn diagnosis becomes for me a kind of emotional key. Granny's language is always rooted in the body. She does not speak of crushed ambition or wounded pride. She speaks of knockwurst and digestive distress. The translation is comic, but it is also precise. Disappointment lives in the body before it lives in language. By meeting Jethro at the level of physical symptom, Granny offers him a way to be cared for without first requiring him to articulate the full scale of the loss. I have returned to that choice many times when thinking about how the series handles vulnerability. It does not demand eloquent suffering. It simply notices the stomachache and puts the kettle on. There is a secondary heartbreak running underneath the primary one, and I have only learned to name it with time. Jethro's agent performance was not merely a consolation prize, it was an attempt to remain inside the story. By claiming Bessie as his client, he found a way to stay close to the machinery that had just rejected him. The bananas, the billing demands, the hairdresser, all of it was a method of keeping the door from closing completely. When the studio pushes back, the threat is not only to Bessie's position. It is to Jethro's last remaining foothold in the dream. The desperation that creeps into the later rounds of bargaining carries that secondary stakes. He is not only negotiating for fruit, he is negotiating for continued relevance. The family understands this even if they do not say it aloud. Their reactions are calibrated to protect the remaining foothold, rather than to dismantle it. No one tells him the agent role is ridiculous, no one forces him to admit that the co-starring fantasy is over. They simply adjust their own behavior around the new reality and wait. That patience feels to me like one of the deepest forms of respect the series ever offered its most vulnerable character. Jethro is allowed to complete the emotional transaction at his own speed. The humiliation is real, but it is not weaponized. I have sat with this section in different states of mind across the years. Sometimes the comedy of the knockwurst line is enough. Sometimes I am struck by the quiet accuracy of the emotional sequence, the inflation, the performance of control, the slow leak of recognition, the family's refusal to accelerate the collapse. The pattern is familiar from life as much as from television. We construct stories about our own importance, the world edits those stories. The people who love us decide whether to narrate the edits back to us in the harshest possible language or to simply stay nearby while we read the revisions ourselves. The Clampetts in this stretch choose the second option. I have never stopped being grateful for the choice. By the time the scene settles, Jethro has not recovered his original dream. He has, however, retained a role that still allows him to act on behalf of something he cares about. The heartburn will pass. The heartbreak will soften into the more durable shape of loyalty. The humiliation will become another story the family tells about the time Jethro almost became a Hollywood agent for a chimpanzee. And through it all, the series will have maintained its most consistent promise, that no one in this household is left alone with the moment when a dream becomes smaller than it used to be. That promise still matters to me. It is why I return to these quieter scenes with the same attention I bring to the broader physical comedy. The laughter is easy. The care underneath it is the part I carry away. I have always been quietly grateful that this episode makes room for the slower, more tangled romantic currents that run alongside Jethro's Hollywood storm. The great machinery of co-stars and chimpanzees and 10,000 banana negotiations could easily have crowded everything else off the screen, yet the script keeps returning to the delicate, often painful comedy of people trying to get close to one another under impossible conditions. Every time I watch these side plots, I feel a different kind of affection, less explosive than the laughter that greets the wagon or the fast draw, but deeper, more personal and strangely familiar. Love, in the world of the Beverly Hillbillies, is never simple. It is chaperoned, misread, redirected, and occasionally forced to hold a ball of yarn while Granny finishes her knitting. The first thread belongs to Miss Jane Hathaway, and I confess that Nancy Culp's performance here still moves me more than most of the broader comic set pieces. Miss Jane has been in love with the idea of Dash Reprock for so long that the actual man almost cannot compete with the fantasy. When she appears at the studio, slightly breathless, slightly overdressed for the ordinary day, I feel the full weight of her hope. She has borrowed a hairpiece from the secretarial pool. The detail is small and perfect. She has tried to improve the surface of herself in the same way Jethro tried to improve his with makeup and a blonde wig. The parallel is never underlined, yet it sits in the center of the scene for anyone willing to notice. Both of them believe that a change in appearance might finally make them visible to the person they want to impress. Both of them are about to discover that the person in question is looking elsewhere. Dash's reaction to the hairpiece is one of the gentlest cruelties the series ever allowed itself. He notices that something is different. He even compliments the change before realizing it is not her real hair. When the truth appears that the neat arrangement is temporary, and the edges of her own hair are still visible underneath, his preference for the original is spoken without malice and without any awareness of the damage it might do. "I like your own hair better." The line is kind on the surface and devastating underneath. I have never been able to watch Nancy Culp receive it without feeling a sharp protective pang. Miss Jane has risked a small transformation. The risk has been noted and then politely declined. The moment is easy to play for pure comedy. Culp and Larry Pennell play it instead for something closer to recognition. We see in the space of a few seconds the exact distance between the woman Miss Jane is trying to become and the woman Dash is capable of seeing. The attempted rehearsal of a love scene only widens that distance. Miss Jane offers herself as a stand-in. She is ready to play the romantic opposite. Dash's response is pure Western purity and pure personal limitation. This is a true Western, and the only thing he kisses is his horse. The line still makes me laugh, but the laughter is complicated. On one level, it is the perfect encapsulation of Dash's self-mythologizing. On another level, it is a quiet admission that he has no emotional vocabulary for the woman standing in front of him. He can perform passion for a script. He cannot recognize it when it appears in ordinary daylight, slightly nervous, wearing a borrowed hairpiece and hoping to be chosen. I have known versions of that blindness in my own life. The recognition is what keeps the scene from becoming merely cruel. The second romantic thread, Dash and Ellie Mae, carries a different temperature entirely. Donna Douglas plays Ellie Mae's interest as genuine but limited. She likes Dash. She enjoys his company. She does not love him in the way that would reorganize her life. The distinction is stated with a clarity that still feels radical for a 1960s sitcom. When Granny later tries to test the depth of the attachment, Ellie Mae's answer is calm and complete: she would have to say no. The man she eventually marries will wear patched overalls and live in a log cabin and raise turnips and a pig or two. The fantasy of Hollywood romance is pleasant. It is not the shape of her future. I have always admired the show for allowing that certainty. Ellie Mae is not waiting to be rewritten by a more sophisticated love. She already knows the terms that will matter to her. What surrounds their brief courtship, however, is pure Clampett chaos. The 8 o'clock curfew is enforced with military precision. Granny's chaperoning is so thorough that Dash cannot hold Ellie Mae's hand without also holding a skein of yarn. The image of the handsome television cowboy sitting in the Clampett parlor, hands occupied with wool while Granny knits and watches, remains one of the most precise comic inventions of the series. Larry Pennell plays the rising frustration with beautiful restraint. He is a man accustomed to being the most important person in any room he enters. In the Clampett living room, he is simply another potential threat to be managed, and the management is conducted without any regard for his status. I laugh every time, and every time I also feel a small surge of solidarity with him. The rules of this household do not bend for celebrity, they do not bend for anyone. The complaints Dash brings to Mr. Drysdale are spoken in the language of a man who has encountered an obstacle he cannot charm or buy his way past. Jethro and Granny are the named barriers. The armored car and bulletproof vest required for a simple goodnight kiss are only slight exaggerations. What I love most about these speeches is the way they reveal Dash's fundamental confusion. He understands romantic pursuit as a series of performances and gestures. He does not understand a family that treats the protection of its young women as a practical daily responsibility rather than a quaint tradition. The culture clash is not loud, it is simply absolute. Two systems of value are trying to occupy the same small space of courtship, and neither can fully translate the other. Granny's surveillance methods only heighten the comedy and the strange tenderness. The ear trumpet on the roof, the telescope that once sent her tumbling into the back seat of Dash's convertible, the sleepwalking episode in which she is discovered mid-mission and insists she is merely taking an interest in her precious jewels. Irene Ryan plays all of it with a fierce sincerity that keeps the character from becoming a simple busybody. Granny is not protecting Ellie Mae from romance in general. She is protecting her from the particular risks of a man who lives by Hollywood rules. The distinction matters. In Granny's moral universe, a man who cannot be trusted to return a girl by 8 o'clock cannot be trusted with anything that matters. The standard is old-fashioned, unyielding, and within the world of the show completely coherent. The premiere invitation produces the episode's most intricate romantic traffic jam. Dash intends to take Ellie Mae. Granny insists on a chaperone. Miss Jane is volunteered, then maneuvered, then momentarily believed to be the actual object of Dash's invitation. The confusion is staged with the precision of a farce and the emotional undercurrent of something sadder. Miss Jane's brief, blazing hope that she might be the one being invited to a premiere is allowed to exist for only a few seconds before it is corrected. The correction is not unkind, but it is final. I have never watched that small rise and fall without feeling a protective ache for her. Nancy Culp had a gift for playing hope that already knows it is about to be disappointed. The gift is on full display here. What ties these romantic side plots together for me is the recurring question of who is allowed to rewrite the terms of closeness. Dash wants the benefits of romance without the constraints of the Clampett household. Miss Jane wants to be seen as a romantic possibility rather than a reliable secretary. Ellie Mae wants the right to define her own future in language that has nothing to do with premieres or hairpieces. Granny wants the right to enforce the standards that have kept her family intact across every other upheaval. None of these desires is portrayed as foolish. All of them are portrayed as difficult to satisfy inside the same story. The comedy arises from the friction. The lingering feeling arises from the seriousness with which each desire is taken. I return to these scenes when I need to be reminded that the Beverly Hillbillies was always more than a parade of rural versus urban jokes. It was also a long, patient study of how people try to love each other across incompatible systems of value. Sometimes the systems can be negotiated. Sometimes they can only be endured. Sometimes the kindest thing a story can do is allow a character to keep her hairpiece long enough to risk a moment of hope, and then allow her to survive the moment when the hope is not returned. Miss Jane survives. Ellie Mae remains clear. Dash remains largely unchanged. Granny remains vigilant. The balance is comic and oddly merciful. Every time I finish this stretch of the episode, I feel a quiet gratitude for the space it made. The great central plot of chimpanzees and co-starring roles could have consumed every available minute. Instead, the series kept returning to the smaller, more delicate comedy of people holding yarn, borrowing hairpieces, enforcing curfews, and trying with varying degrees of success to be seen by the person they have chosen. That insistence on the personal still feels like a gift. It is why I continue to care about these side plots long after the broader jokes have faded. The laughter is easy. The recognition underneath it is the part that stays. I have never been able to watch Irene Ryan's granny in this stretch of the episode without feeling a deep and complicated gratitude. There is something about the way she loves that still feels to me like one of the purest moral forces the series ever placed on screen. It is not a soft love. It is not a modern, boundary-respecting, emotionally articulate love. It is fierce, practical, sometimes comic, occasionally outrageous, and absolutely unwavering. Every time I return to these scenes, I am struck by how completely the show trusted that ferocity. Granny does not ask permission to protect the people she claims. She simply protects them, and the world is expected to adjust. The surveillance begins almost as soon as Dash becomes a regular presence. The ear trumpet on the roof is one of those details that could have been played as pure farce and instead lands as character truth. Granny has decided that listening is safer than looking after the telescope incident that once deposited her in the back seat of Dash's convertible. The adjustment is practical, slightly humiliated, and completely undeterred. She will continue the work. She will simply change the method. I have always loved that small evolution. It tells us everything about how she operates. Failure does not end the mission. It only refines the technique. When Jed discovers her mid-surveillance and she claims she has been sleepwalking, the moment is funny, but the emotion underneath it is not. My Ellie Mae and Jethro are closer to me than my own young'uns. They're my precious jewels. All I care about is protecting them. The speech is delivered with a raw sincerity that still stops me. Irene Ryan had a gift for letting the comic surface of Granny crack just long enough for the real feeling to show through. In that crack, I always hear the full history of a woman who has already lost people and has no intention of losing more. The protectiveness is not abstract. It is personal, historical, and non-negotiable. The chaperoning of Dash and Ellie Mae's evenings becomes the most sustained expression of that protectiveness. Granny does not simply sit in the room. She occupies the space so completely that romance becomes logistically impossible. The knitting is not a hobby in these scenes. It is a territorial claim. When she makes Dash hold the yarn, the gesture is both practical and symbolic. His hands are occupied. His attention is divided. His status as a visiting celebrity is reduced to the level of a useful tool for a domestic task. I laugh every time, and every time I also feel a surge of admiration. Granny has looked at the power imbalance between a Hollywood actor and a mountain girl and has simply refused to accept it. In her parlor, the rules of Beverly Hills do not apply. Only the rules of the family apply. What moves me most is the absence of apology. Granny never suggests that her standards are old-fashioned or in need of updating. She treats them as simple reality. A man who cannot return a girl by 8 o'clock cannot be trusted. A man who needs to be watched while he holds yarn is a man who still requires watching. The clarity is absolute. In a decade that was already beginning to loosen every traditional courtship structure, the Beverly Hillbillies allowed one character to hold the older line without turning her into a villain or a joke. The comedy comes from the collision between her standards and the outside world. The respect comes from the show's refusal to undermine the standards themselves. The matchmaking sequences reveal a different facet of the same protective instinct. When Granny decides that Dash would be better directed toward Miss Jane, the decision is not born of meddling for its own sake. It is born of care for Ellie Mae's long-term happiness and in a secondary way for the waste of a presentable man. The logic is pure. Granny Ellie Mae does not love him, therefore the attachment is a danger. Miss Jane appears to admire him, therefore the attachment might be a solution. The fact that Miss Jane's admiration is hopeless, and Dash's interest is largely self-directed, does not slow the campaign. Granny has diagnosed a problem and invented a remedy. The remedy will be applied with or without the cooperation of the patients. I have always been struck by the seriousness with which she undertakes the sales pitch. She lists Dash's virtues to Miss Jane with the energy of a woman selling a prize mule. He is polite, he is strong, he is trustworthy. He would rather walk barefoot through a stubble field than tell a lie. The hyperbole is comic, but the intention is not. Granny is trying to build a future that keeps Ellie Mae safe and gives Miss Jane a chance at the kind of attention she has been denied. The fact that the materials she is working with are imperfect does not discourage her. She has worked with imperfect materials all her life. The scenes in which she tries to talk Ellie Mae down and Miss Jane up are among the most delicately balanced in the episode. There is real risk here. Push too hard and she becomes the interfering relative of 1,000 lesser comedies. Irene Ryan never crosses that line. She plays the maneuvering as an extension of care rather than a hunger for control. When Ellie Mae calmly states that she does not love Dash and would not marry him, Granny accepts the information and simply redirects the campaign. The acceptance is important, her protectiveness has limits. She will fight the outside world without hesitation. She will not fight Ellie Mae's own clear knowledge of her heart. I think often of the cultural weight these scenes carried in 1967. The generation gap was already a national conversation. Traditional authority was being questioned in public and private. Into that moment the Beverly Hillbillies placed a tiny furious woman whose authority came from love rather than institutional power, and then allowed her to wield it without irony. The choice still feels radical to me. Granny's methods are open to comedy, her motives are not. The show laughs at the ear trumpet and the yarn and the exaggerated salesmanship. It never laughs at the underlying conviction that the young people in her care deserve protection from their own inexperience and from the world's indifference. There is a moment late in the romantic complications when Granny's efforts appear to have created more confusion than clarity. Dash is temporarily redirected. Miss Jane is temporarily elevated. Ellie Mae is temporarily sidelined. The traffic jam of intentions produces some of the episode's most intricate farce, and yet even in the middle of the chaos I never doubt the source. Every misdirection, every exaggerated compliment, every strategic absence or presence traces back to the same fierce loyalty. Granny is not playing games for entertainment, she is trying to steer the people she loves away from pain and towards something that might last. The tools available to her are limited and often comic. The intention is not. What stays with me most is the way the episode allows Granny's love to be both effective and incomplete. She cannot make Dash into a different kind of man. She cannot make Miss Jane the object of his genuine desire. She cannot force Ellie Mae into a more cautious romantic schedule than the girl is willing to accept. What she can do is remain present, remain vigilant, and remain willing to look ridiculous in the service of their safety. That willingness feels to me like the deepest form of the character's integrity. She will climb on the roof with an ear trumpet. She will fall off the roof if necessary. She will get back on the roof the next night. The persistence is the point. I have carried Granny's particular style of love with me for a long time. In a world that often confuses boundaries with indifference and self-protection with wisdom, there is something clarifying about a character who simply refuses to look away. She does not always get it right. She is not always gentle, she is however always there. The ear trumpet is funny. The knitting is funny. The sleepwalking excuse is funny. The love that produces all three is not funny at all. It is the solid ground under the comedy, and I have never stopped being thankful that the series knew the difference. Every time I finish this stretch of the episode, I feel a quiet recalibration. The broader jokes about Hollywood and chimpanzees and 10% agents are still echoing, but underneath them is the steady pulse of one woman's determination to keep her people whole. That pulse is what I return for. It is what makes the farce safe. It is what makes the world of the show feel, despite every absurdity, like a place where someone is still keeping watch. Granny's eye is sharp, suspicious, and deeply kind. I am grateful it was given so much room to see. I have always felt a particular, almost fierce sympathy for Granny in the long domestic movement that closes this composite of stories. After the chimpanzees and the agents and the chaperoned courtships, the episode turns its attention to the one space Granny has always controlled without challenge, the household itself. What follows is not merely a comic misunderstanding about hired help. It is a quiet territorial war over the meaning of work, dignity, and who is allowed to care for the people under a given roof. Every time I watch these scenes, I feel the same protective heat rising. Someone is trying to take Granny's purpose away from her under the guise of kindness, and the series, to its lasting credit, refuses to pretend that the gesture is simple. It begins with exhaustion that is not allowed to speak its name. Granny has been working at a pace that alarms everyone around her. She is up before dawn. She is still moving after dark. She shampoos the grass. She presses clothes by sleeping on them. She has turned the maintenance of the Clampett mansion into a one-woman campaign against disorder. The family notices. Mr. Drysdale notices. Miss Jane notices. Their collective response is to decide that she needs help. The decision is made with genuine concern, and that is what makes the subsequent comedy so precise. No one is trying to insult her. They are trying to save her from herself. Granny experiences the effort as an attack on the one domain in which her authority has never been questioned. I have returned to this conflict many times when thinking about the way certain kinds of love can become indistinguishable from erasure. Drysdale's plan is practical by his own lights. A house of that size, the work is visibly wearing her down. Therefore a housekeeper must be introduced. The logic is clean and completely alien to Granny's understanding of her own life. Work for her is not a burden to be lifted. It is the daily proof that she is still necessary. To remove the work is to remove the proof. The series never states this equation in those terms, yet every scene is shaped by it. The scheme to overcome her resistance is pure Drysdale. Find a woman who appears to need the job more than Granny needs to refuse it. Miss Meek is presented as a frail silver-haired figure of pathos stranded on the cold sidewalks of Beverly Hills, mop and bucket in hand, desperate for honest employment. The portrait is so exaggerated that it becomes a kind of moral blackmail. Granny, who would never turn away a creature in genuine need, is maneuvered into acceptance by her own soft heart. The moment she agrees is one of the most complicated in the episode. She is not defeated by argument, she is defeated by compassion. I feel the trap closing every time, and I feel the series acknowledging that even Granny's strengths can be used against her. Then Miss Meek arrives and the portrait collapses. The woman who steps into the Clampett kitchen is not frail. She is not grateful. She is not interested in performing the role of needy supplicant that has been written for her. She is blunt, territorial, and immediately engaged in redrawing the boundaries of the household. The comedy of the mismatch is immediate and sustained. Granny has prepared furniture polish made from pine tar and possum fat. Miss Meek refuses to polish. Granny offers the kitchen floor. Miss Meek does not scrub floors. Walls, laundry, ironing, rugs, each traditional task is declined in turn. The only work she will consider is cooking, and even that comes with a demand for extra pay. The inventory of refusals is one of the purest comic structures the episode achieves. Each no peels away another layer of the fantasy Drysdale has sold until nothing remains but two women who both believe they are the rightful center of the same domestic universe. What I love most about these confrontations is the way the script refuses to make either woman purely ridiculous. Granny's methods are extreme, her pace is unsustainable, her resistance to help is rooted in pride as much as in principle. At the same time, her standards are coherent. She knows how she wants the house to feel. She knows the difference between work that maintains a home and work that merely occupies time. Miss Meek, for her part, is not a villain. She is a professional who has learned to protect herself from exploitation by defining her duties with absolute clarity. The fact that her clarity leaves almost nothing for her to do inside Granny's system is the engine of the comedy. Two competent women are trying to occupy a single role. The role is not large enough for both. The chicken Miranda sequence remains for me a small masterpiece of competing care. Granny offers the bird as a welcoming gift, a living creature to be tended and kept. Miss Meek hears only the possibility of stewed chicken. The misreading is total and revealing. Granny's household includes animals as members of the moral community. Miss Meek's experience of service has taught her to see resources where Granny sees relationships. Neither perspective is mocked out of existence. They are simply placed side by side until the friction becomes unbearable. I think often of the deeper argument these scenes are having about labor and identity. Granny's work has never been wage labor, it has been the daily reenactment of belonging. She does not keep the house clean because she is paid to do so. She keeps it clean because the house contains her people and the condition of the house is an extension of her care for them. To insert a paid worker into that circuit is to convert a language of love into a language of transaction. Granny experiences the conversion as a kind of violence. The series, to its credit, lets her experience stand. It does not lecture her about the virtues of rest or the necessity of professional help. It simply watches what happens when a woman who has always defined herself through necessary work is told that her work is no longer necessary. Drysdale's panic when the plan begins to backfire is pure character comedy. He has tried to solve a problem and has instead created a new one that threatens the stability of the very household he depends upon. The possibility that the Clampetts might leave Beverly Hills because of domestic friction is enough to undo him. His desperation produces some of the episode's sharpest lines, yet underneath the panic I always hear a secondary truth. He has never understood what Granny's work actually means. He has seen only the surface labor. He has not seen the identity that labor sustains. The failure is not moral, it is imaginative. He cannot picture a life in which doing everything by oneself is not a problem to be solved. The resolution, when it comes, is less a solution than a restoration. Miss Meek finds a job more suited to her temperament. The implication of prison work is left hanging in the air with perfect comic darkness, and Granny reclaims the territory. The house is a disaster by her standards. The disaster is the proof that she was needed. Her joy at the prospect of cleaning it all up again is unfeigned and complete. "I got joy, 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 joy," she declares. And the line is both ridiculous and deeply true. The work has been returned to her. The purpose has been returned with it. I have never been able to watch that final surge of energy without feeling a complicated relief. The system has corrected itself. The correction has cost Miss Meek a job and Drysdale a measure of dignity, but it has returned Granny to herself. What stays with me most is the series' refusal to treat Granny's victory as merely comic stubbornness. There is real stakes in the question of who is allowed to care for a household. In a culture that was already beginning to professionalize and outsource every form of domestic labor, the Beverly Hillbillies paused to consider what might be lost in the transaction. The answer it offers is not reactionary, it is personal. For this particular woman in this particular house, the labor and the love are not separable. To remove one is to diminish the other. The show lets that truth stand without demanding that it apply to every household in America. The specificity is what makes it feel honest. I carry these scenes with me because they capture something essential about the way certain people remain necessary. Granny does not need to be needed in the abstract. She needs to be needed in the concrete daily physical ways that leave her tired and satisfied at the same time. The housekeeper invasion threatens that concrete necessity. Its failure restores it. The comedy of the failure is broad and sustained. The emotion underneath it is quiet and precise. Every time I finish this section I feel the same recalibration. The world is full of people who will try to help you by taking away the very things that make you who you are. Granny's resistance, comic and extreme and ultimately successful, remains one of the clearest refusals of that bargain the series ever staged. I am grateful it was given so much room to play out. The kitchen is hers again. The polish is hers to make. The work continues. And in the continuation she remains unmistakably, unapologetically herself. I come to the end of this long layered stretch of the Beverly Hillbillies with the same feeling I always have when the final images begin to settle, a quiet, steady gratitude that such a show once existed and that it trusted its audience enough to be both ridiculous and sincere at the same time. What I have watched unfold across these 13 movements is not merely a collection of comic set pieces about a chimpanzee co-star, a deluded young agent, a draft horse in Beverly Hills, and a housekeeper who refuses to scrub floors. It is a sustained meditation on what happens when two complete systems of value are forced to share the same oxygen. One system is built on appearance negotiation, recycled formulas, and the careful management of status. The other is built on loyalty, necessary work, plain speech, and the refusal to let anyone under your roof be discarded simply because they have become inconvenient. The comedy lives in the friction. The enduring charm lives in the fact that the second system, against every modern expectation, is never required to apologize for itself. I have always believed that the deepest joke of the Beverly Hillbillies is also its deepest kindness. The Clampetts are the ones who do not understand the rules of the sophisticated world, and yet it is the sophisticated world that continually fails the basic tests of decency, proportion, and self-knowledge. Hollywood in this episode cannot invent a story that is not stitched together from the parts of older stories. It cannot manage a child star without panic. It cannot recognize a performance unless it has been framed as one. It cannot close a deal without immediately calculating how to replace the talent it has just agreed to celebrate. The Clampetts, by contrast, know exactly what they care about. They care about one another. They care about the creatures under their protection. They care about work that leaves a visible trace of care. When those two orientations collide, the series does not ask us to mock the simpler one. It asks us to notice how often the complicated one is simply lost. Jethro's journey remains for me the clearest expression of that collision. He begins by trying to translate himself into the language of Hollywood romance and leading man glamour. He ends by translating Hollywood representation into the language of bananas and fierce personal loyalty. The movement is comic at every step, yet it is also a quiet victory. The industry does not succeed in making him smaller. He succeeds in making a piece of the industry operate, however briefly. On terms he understands. I have never stopped finding that reversal moving. In a medium that often treats rural characters as permanent students of urban sophistication, the Beverly Hillbillies repeatedly allows the rural characters to become the teachers. The lessons are not always elegant. They are, however, consistent. People are not interchangeable parts. Affection is not a contract point. A creature you have claimed as your own is not to be discarded when the negotiation turns difficult. Granny's long defense of her domestic territory carries the same argument into a different register. The modern solution to her exhaustion is to professionalize the care of the household. The Clampett solution is to refuse the premise that care should be professionalized in the first place. I am aware of every reasonable objection that can be raised against her stance. The work is too much. The pace is unsustainable. The refusal of help can become its own form of pride, and yet the series never lets the reasonable objections erase the emotional truth she is defending, that some forms of labor are not merely tasks but proofs of belonging. When that proof is taken away, something essential is diminished. The restoration of her work at the end of the housekeeper sequence is therefore not a retreat into stubbornness. It is the reassertion of a moral economy in which love and effort are not easily separated. I have carried that distinction with me long after the specific jokes about pine tar polish and refused flaws have faded. The romantic side plots perform a similar service for the language of courtship. Riprock moves through the world assuming that charm, status, and proximity will eventually produce the outcomes he wants. The Clampett household answers with curfews, yarn, ear trumpets, and the calm insistence that a man's reliability is measured by ordinary punctuality rather than by the size of his billing. Miss Jane's borrowed hairpiece and quiet hope are treated with more tenderness than Dash's self-mythologizing ever receives. Ellie Mae's clear-eyed knowledge of the kind of life she actually wants is allowed to stand without being rewritten as fear of sophistication. In each case, the series declines the easier comic path. It does not mock the desire for romance, it simply refuses to accept that romance must be conducted according to the rules of the more glamorous party. The culture clash is real. The resolution is not a merger, it is a boundary. What binds all of these threads together for me is the consistent moral temperature of the Clampett response. They are never cruel, they are rarely sophisticated. They are almost always clear. When Hollywood presents them with a problem, they solve it according to the materials they actually possess: loyalty, practical invention, a high tolerance for looking ridiculous, and an absolute refusal to abandon their own. The wagon that carries a chimpanzee through Beverly Hills is not an embarrassment to be hidden. It is the only logical solution once the horse's nature and the monkey's attachment have been accepted as facts. The 10% agency conducted in bananas is not a scam. It is the only currency that makes sense inside the relationship as it exists. The reclamation of the household from a housekeeper who will not do the work is not a rejection of progress. It is the defense of a form of care that cannot be outsourced without loss. In each case, the Clampert solution looks absurd from the outside and feels inevitable from the inside. The series trusts us to hold both perspectives at once. I think often of the historical moment that produced this material. By the late 1960s, the United States was deep in arguments about authenticity, tradition, authority, and the cost of modern life. Television comedy rarely entered those arguments with any subtlety. The Beverly Hillbillies entered them almost sideways under the cover of broad physical jokes and mountain dialects, and somehow managed to stage one of the more sustained defenses of non-metropolitan value systems that the decade produced. It did not demand that anyone adopt the Clampett way of life, it simply refused to treat that way of life as a joke that required a punchline of conversion or defeat. The Clampetts leave most episodes essentially unchanged. The world around them is the element that must adjust. That structural choice still feels radical when I encounter it now. The enduring charm of the series and of this episode in particular lies in the generosity of that refusal. The show is willing to make its rural characters look foolish. It is not willing to make them look small. Jethro can be deluded, vain, and spectacularly incompetent with a rope, yet he is never contemptible. Granny can be intrusive, extreme, and comically suspicious, yet her love is never treated as a punchline. Jed can be quiet to the point of near invisibility, yet his steadiness remains the moral center that allows every wilder orbit to continue. Ellie Mae can be innocent without being empty. Even the supporting figures Dash with his carefully maintained surface, Miss Jane with her persistent hope, Drysdale with his frantic calculations are granted enough humanity to remain interesting rather than merely functional. The ensemble works because the writing and the performances share a common underlying respect. That respect is the quality I miss most in much of what followed. When I look back across the full arc of this composite, from Jethro's first hopeful appearance in romantic makeup to Granny's final joyful reclamation of her unfinished work, I see a single consistent argument. The world will always contain systems that treat people as interchangeable, stories as recyclable, and care as a service to be purchased. Against those systems, it is still possible to place a different logic, one that insists on particular loyalties, on work that cannot be fully delegated, on the right to remain visibly unfashionably yourself even when the price is looking absurd in the middle of Beverly Hills. The Beverly Hillbillies made that argument week after week under the disguise of laughter. The disguise was so effective that many viewers never noticed the argument was being made at all. I noticed it early, and I have never stopped being thankful that I did. The chimpanzee will not become a long-running co-star. The wagon will not become the standard transportation of television cowboys. The housekeeper will not last. The hairpiece will be returned to the secretarial pool. What remains is the Clampett heart, stubborn, specific, occasionally ridiculous, and remarkably durable. It is the quality that allows the culture clash to remain comedy rather than tragedy. It is the quality that allows the folly of Hollywood to be exposed without bitterness. It is the quality that keeps drawing me back to these scenes when the newer, sleeker, more cynical entertainments have begun to feel thin. The world has changed in 1,000 ways since these episodes first aired. The need for the particular kind of clarity the Clampetts carry has not. I finish this long engagement with the material the same way I finish most visits with the series, a little quieter, a little more aware of the forms of care I want to protect in my own life, and deeply grateful that a half-hour comedy once made room for all of it: the bananas, the rope tricks, the ear trumpets, the borrowed hair, the refused flaws, and the steady, unapologetic insistence that some things are not for sale and some people are not for discarding. That insistence is the enduring charm. It is still here, still funny, still surprisingly moving, still waiting for anyone willing to meet it on its own terms. I am glad I was willing again.